One.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 4.5/5 of the Teardrop Pod. My name is Chris, and I am one of your hosts, joined by, as always, Mr. Andrew. How's it going, Andrew?
It's going great. I'm very, very excited about this episode. I've been thinking about it all day. Sorry for leaving y'all hanging last week, but y'all are in for a good one. I can pretty much guarantee it.
This is your bread and butter, man. I'm excited for you as well, and I'm excited too. I was thinking today how surprised I am that I am as excited for the Switch 2 announcement and news we have coming up this week, because Nintendo has kind of not been. I have not felt like I was Nintendo's prime demographic for a long time, but there is always going to be something special about new hardware and the potential of what is to come. So we are finishing our kind of farewell to the Switch 1 that we started in last week's episode, which is why I was like, episode 4.5/5. We'll probably just call it 5. But as you all know from last week, we didn't get to the tier list because we could tell it was going to be a big one. And it turns out we had a surprise Switch Direct last week. And so we're going to briefly touch on that as well. So this week is just a very, very quick recap of that, but primarily just a little swan song to the old stinky Switch and its best of games. So it's going to be a fun one. Thank you, as always, to all of our fans and supporters out there. You can find us on YouTube for the video version of this podcast, Teardrop Pod, and or the audio version on Apple Podcast and Spotify, Teardrop Pod. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz, and make sure you get us in your feed so that when we do special episodes like we will have later this week, you don't miss them, which leads me into the schedule for later this week, which is we're recording on our normal day, Monday. Should go up probably Tuesday, Wednesday. And obviously the big news of the week is the Switch 2 Direct on Wednesday, where we anticipate them revealing the release date and the price and the software for Switch 2. So we didn't want to make y'all wait a whole week for that. We will be recording an episode the day after and hopefully uploading it by the end of this week, so around Friday or so. So you got double drops this week, because the teardrop double drops of the drop pod. So look forward to that. Does that all sound good to you, Andrew?
That sounds wonderful. I'm so excited.
It's a big week for you.
It's a really big week for me. I've been all giddy since February, whenever they first announced the Switch 2 and then they announced the Direct. It's like, y'all are gonna make me wait 2 months for this freaking Direct. I've never hated Nintendo more than that day, maybe, because they built me up real quick and then they just broke me down. No, you're still waiting.
It's kind of crazy how big of a gap there was between when they announced it and when it's actually happening, because it doesn't usually take them that long to put out news. So I'm a little surprised that they've kept us on our toes this long, but I'm sure they want to build lots of anticipation, which they're doing because this is all anyone in the gaming space is talking about. So
yep.
It'll be a big week. And for me, it's a big month because as of tomorrow, it's the release month for Clair Obscur Expedition 33, potential game of the year.
Sir.
So whatever Nintendo does,
dude, that game,
I have that to look forward to regardless. So I'm excited. It's going to be a good month. I'm looking forward to it, but
put it on the Switch too. Oh, imagine that's in the Direct.
Dude, can you
imagine?
That game looks unbelievably gorgeous for especially the size of the studio and the fact it's their first game. I would be shocked if that game could run on a Switch 2. But we'll see. We will see. I mean, I guess it's going to have to run on a Series S.
It's going to look so bad if they do put it on there. I don't think they will, though.
Do you think... Here's a weird question. Which do you think is going to be stronger from a spec standpoint, the Switch 2 or the Xbox Series S?
Ooh. Oh, that's weird to think about a Switch ever even comparing.
Yeah.
Maybe they're about the same. I hope that they're about the same. I hope it's as strong as the Series X.
There's no way. There's no shot. Absolutely not. I mean,
but if it's actually a current gen console,
that's the thing. It feels like that's
all that
they're aiming for. But technically,
Yeah.
the Series S is also a current gen console, but it's one that all the developers complain about being underpowered and hard to develop for. So
Yep.
I could see that being the closest comparison. That's why I was curious. Because I I don't think it's going to be as powerful as a Steam Deck, because the Steam Deck's what, like $600-$700, and this is probably going to be.
Yeah,
There's no
something
way
like
they would
that.
want it to go for that much. And the Steam Deck can like run most modern games if you really lower the settings on them. So I don't know. I'm just curious. It's interesting to think about in these last couple of days while we still
Yeah.
have our theories to work off of, but we got to get into it. We got to.
It's crazy that in the next couple days we'll know.
We'll know.
Like
We can
that's dude, it's blowing my
finally
mind.
stop it. Like it. I feel bad for all the bigger content creators that have been talking about this for literally years. Like, what are you going to do now? What's there to talk
Yeah.
about? Oh man, no, I'm excited though.
Yeah.
Let's do a really quick recap of this Nintendo Direct from last week. Just a chance to go over some of the stuff that really stood out to us. I'll let you start because I think we talked very briefly about this before. It was kind of a stinky Direct, in my opinion. I think you kind of agreed with that. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's a little stinky. Like it, because here's the deal, right? Going into it, like I don't have much expectation going into that Direct of like anything crazy or like groundbreaking being announced. Because I mean, we're going into it knowing that the big one is next week.
It just doesn't.
So it's like,
I mean, I guess they're just trying to get some stuff out of the way, but that we'll also have to bring that up later because in some ways that doesn't make sense either. But it's like Nintendo usually has what, 3 directs in an entire year, and now you're putting 2 within less than a week between each other. Like, I just don't understand the reasoning. It's so strange to me.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very weird. But I mean, there was still like some reasonably cool stuff. Mainly the only ones that really like come to mind for me that were like memorable were like a new Rhythm Heaven game is an insane thought to me. 'Cause, I mean, I don't think that we've had one since the DS.
Tell me about
Maybe
that.
there was one on the 3DS.
Tell me about that series, because I love rhythm games and I've heard of the Rhythm Heaven games, but I've never played them and I don't know much about them. But this was one of the few things I saw people really popping off for.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I've literally never played a Rhythm Heaven game. Just the idea
way you were talking
of
about
a
it
dormant.
right now, you were like,
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to my favorite
just the
series
idea
of
of like
time.
The idea of like a dormant like Nintendo IP like being brought back like on like a home console. I mean, home console hybrid. You know, however you want to look at the Switch. But that kind of thing just like excites me and it gives me hope for maybe a little F-Zero, maybe a little Star Fox.
It is actually kind of insane when you think about. I mean, I assume a Rhythm Heaven game is probably much cheaper to make than a Star Fox or a F-Zero, but it is kind of hilarious to think about the fact that that is, because I didn't even realize that was a Nintendo property, but to think that that's coming back before we're getting a new one of either of those is kind of hilarious. But
and the date on it is the weird thing for me.
Next year. It's like a year away, which is just again not very Nintendo.
Like,
why do you? That seems like something you announced a month before, or maybe even and it's available now. I don't know.
Yeah, like Shadow drop a new Rhythm Heaven game, like dude, and any Rhythm Heaven game, any Rhythm Heaven fan within shouting distance is gonna freak out. You might get only like one person in shouting distance actually,
like
but
1%. Yeah.
But that and kind of the same thing for what they closed on, which was Tamagotchi Life.
Yeah.
Which is an old, I say old, I mean, it's relatively old at this point, you know, an old 3DS like kind of cult classic game. Like people really, really like that game. I've heard lots of really good things about it. It's like a sim kind of thing, right? But it's with your Mii's, and it's like the whole, I think hook or appeal is really that it's just super quirky and weird. Like the vibes in that trailer were just of these weird giant versions of people while you're dreaming and then like doing like crazy dance moves around a campfire. Like its whole thing just seems that it's like quirky. It's like Animal Crossings, but with your Mii's and quirky is the vibe I was getting. But it's also that's pretty much what I got from it too. Because I had never played it, but I know that there's a massive following for that game, and a couple of my close friends were really excited about it. So I was like, good for you guys. Like people have been begging for a new one forever because there haven't. I think they said in the trailer there hasn't been one in over 10 years.
Yep.
So it's like it's nice to see that they're willing to bring back some more like kind of niche, you know, smaller titles to like the Switch and stuff.
Yeah.
Was there anything that really stuck out to you besides those?
Yeah. I'll just talk very quickly about a couple of things. And we need to circle back to your impressions on the Metroid Prime content as well.
Oh yes.
I'm looking at the list here. Shadow Labyrinth. This is the really weird one that we saw at, I think, the Game Awards first. This
yeah.
Pac-Man Metroidvania, where like you play as like a human protagonist, but you like use the powers of this like Pac-Man that's following you around to navigate and use combat, and it's like got this really dark, grungy tone, and it seems like it's kind of based off of that really, really dark episode from the Amazon anthology series that came out last year. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the name. What was it called? It was the Amazon video game anthology series.
Oh, you're talking about Secret Level or whatever?
Secret Level, yes. The one that like everyone was super stoked for.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got pretty middling to bad reviews, so I never got around to watching it. But I actually heard that episode was interesting. And its timing was clearly intentional with the fact that it thematically seems to match up with what this game is going for. And look, we've had a million Metroidvanias at this point, but I will say this one does look like, if this is a Game Pass game, it's an instant try for me. If it's something that I have to buy, it'll depend on what the price is, I guess, and when it comes out, what comes out around it. But as a premise, I am interested. Like, I have a weird affinity for Pac-Man. Like, it's not like I played the arcade game a ton,
really?
But I had like one of the 3D ones on my PC as a kid that I would just play a lot.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, there's a couple, and I can't even remember. It's such a memory of a memory because I was so young. It's like I couldn't even remember the name of it if I tried. But like, there is a lot of nostalgia packed in because of that. So that's
packed in.
Pac-Man did. And so I think that's cool. There was that one list game. What was it called? This remastered Devil Summoner title, Rido, I think it's what it was called.
Oh yeah.
This like action, not like turn-based like any of the SMT or Persona games, but like a real-time thing with the same demons and creatures from those. So it's got like that kind of through line of the Atlas art style. I don't think I'll actually play it, but it is interesting.
It looks interesting for sure.
Yeah, so it's cool that it's getting another chance. I was really disappointed from the Pokemon Z to A showing. That game just continues to look ugly as sin.
I don't like anything about how that game looks.
The whole mechanic of battling from Z to A that they kind of debuted in there is like your way of ranking up. It's like, that sounds like such a grind. We'll get to it later in the tier list. I really like Pokemon Legends Arceus, and so I was really hopeful for this one, but the setting of the city just looks so boring to me compared to the open world of I never know if it's Arceus or Arceus. I know people argue about that.
It used to be Arceus, and then I think they changed it to Arceus because Arce in England is like a bad word, and then something I don't know, dude. They're so weird with it, man.
Yeah.
I just say Arceus. Screw them.
It's got like a day-night cycle. Like, there are things about it that feel more iterative and more innovative than some of the other Pokemons feel like they've been. And I appreciate what they're going for, but the setting itself just does not do anything for me, and it just looks really ugly. So I don't know. Maybe it'll be better on Switch too.
Yeah, maybe. I remember being really excited for Arceus whenever that first came out. I never tried it. I borrowed it from a friend, or from my niece, actually. Now that I think about it, and I still haven't given it back. It's been about a year. But like, that game looks so cool to me, and like the idea of it is so cool. And then to see this trailer, it's just like, what are we doing, man? Like, it feels like such a step backwards.
Yeah. Well, and like the Legends series, if it was going to be its own spin-off thing, like, it just had so much potential to do so many different things. And so again, like, I do appreciate that they're trying different stuff. And like, even the combat being more real time, I think there is potential in that, but it's just the city looks so ugly, man. It just I don't know.
Everything looks ugly.
Maybe there's more open world to it than they're showing off, but it feels like they've really focused in on the city itself, and that is just not a place I have any desire to explore personally, based off of what I've seen. And the setting
I'm right there
of
with you.
Arceus was one of the best parts of it, because it was just so fun to just roam around. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on it. I hope they can still convince me, but I was not impressed with that. The only other thing I wanted to comment on the fact, I think it is really interesting that we got both, what was it? Patapon and Everybody's Golf, two PlayStation IPs that are being published by, I think, Bandai Namco on the Switch.
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw this? Because that's kind of unprecedented.
So when they're rolling through the headlines and the little Patapon logo pops up, I like jump scared Kayla. I like popped up. I did like a whoa, like what is happening here right now? Yeah, really like definitely very welcome, but very surprising, very weird. Like I think it might be like a Xbox has started to play nice, so maybe PlayStation wants to, or Sony wants to start to play nice with other platforms, maybe. Because I mean, Patapon hasn't ever been released on anything else, right? It's always been on PlayStation platforms.
Yeah, I don't think that's
and probably the same thing for Everybody's Golf and Hot Shots Golf.
Yeah, I don't think either of those or any of the stuff they've ported to PC. The only other one that I can think of that they had ported was the Lego Horizon game that came out last year, also released on Switch. So it's not the first time, but that was still published by PlayStation, I think. But this is two PlayStation IPs that are being published by Bandai, which is just a different approach. And it's so interesting to me that they're choosing these two specifically for it, not on Xbox, as far as we can tell. It's just on Switch. So it's not like they're porting it everywhere. It's just, I guess, I feel like I heard someone say they think it's because they don't view Switch as a direct competitor like they do Microsoft and Xbox, which is maybe why it's going to Switch and not there. But why have someone else publish it then?
It's such a weird call. Yeah. It's a really weird call.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still down with it. I think that those are two good choices for like Switch games. Yes. Like if we're talking like on the go, like I mean, like Patapon started as a PSP title, right? Yep. So it's like I think that those are really good choices if those are, you know, what we're choosing at first to like kind of venture out of the comfort zone that is, you know, your own platform. But you know, we'll see if some more Sony stuff comes out of that. I think that it would be really cool if we start to get some actual like cross-plat kind of, you know. So I don't want to say like Sony, like we're not going to see a God of War on Switch 2, but you know, like some smaller, you know, like I mean, I don't know, maybe.
You never know, dude. They're on PC. Yeah,
but like if we got like a Gravity Rush remastered or something,
that feels
that
like another really good fit for the Switch specifically. I mean, if it gives these franchises a new lease on life, specifically Patapon and Everybody's Golf are not franchises I'm going to run out and go buy or play again, but I do think it's interesting. It's just something to keep an eye on to see if this is a trend that continues, and if so, does it give some of these franchises that seem dead a little bit more staying power? And if we see any new entries in those, I'd be very curious. So that really caught my eye. I was very surprised by that. So
I think we just need to open back up Japan Studio. I think that's I think that's the big takeaway from this.
I will never understand why they did what they did to them. It's truly one of their biggest mistakes.
It's so tragic.
So last game worth mentioning for me is, not surprising as the Marvel fanboy, Marvel Cosmic Invasion. This is a 2D beat 'em up that is made by the people who made the TMNT beat 'em up we got recently, and there's one other one.
Shredder's Revenge and the Power Rangers one.
Yes,
right?
yeah. Both of which were very well received. And this game just looks sick, dude. Like at first I thought it was like a remake of one of the Marvel ones that I missed when I was growing up, but like no, this is an original game just in that style, I think, and it looks gorgeous. It's not a genre I'm typically super in love with, but like if you give me like a $30 game like this that's really well made and I can find someone to play it with, like that sounds peak. That sounds really fun and just continues to diversify. what Marvel is doing in the gaming division, which I think is awesome. It's got a very eclectic cast from what we saw so far. You got like the Spider-Man characters, but you also got the X-Men, but you also got Nova. You've also got like the main villain looks like a nihilist, so it's like fresh
A
kind
little
of
bit.
takes on that stuff too. So very cool. I hope that game turns out good.
Yeah, that one really hyped me up. I think that's a really good trailer for that, and I'm with you. I'm not the beat 'em up guy, you know. I'm not big on those kind of like 2D side scrolling like those kind of games. I did play a lot of the TMNT games like whenever I was a kid on the NES, and I always had a good time with them. But they were just they're so hard. They're so insanely hard. Yep. And I didn't pick up Shredder's Revenge or the Power Rangers one, even though the Power Rangers one kind of wowed me whenever I saw the trailer for that one for the first time. Like, it looks so cool. But yeah, getting some buddies together and everybody sitting down and, you know, just beating up some Marvel villains. Like, that just sounds like such a good time. I was so in on that one.
Yeah, but
when that trailer dropped.
The TMNT, which is a franchise I don't really care about, I don't have nostalgia for it. It dropped on Game Pass, and I had a friend who wanted to play it, and so we played through it. It was like only a 5-hour game or something like that. We played through the entire thing, and it was fun. It was just like a good afternoon of like gaming, and so you put that with characters that I do care way more about, with, you know, made by a team of that pedigree. Then yeah, that sounds like a good time. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's wrap this up, unless you have something else you also want to talk about. The floor is yours, but bring it back to Metroid, your baby for this year.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, Metroid is really it was the highlight of the showcase for me, for sure. I'm a massive Metroid Prime fan. Metroid Prime, we've talked about Metroid a little bit on previous episodes, but Prime 1 is one of my favorite games of all time. It's like a top 5 game ever. 2, I think, is also very good. 3 is a little, I think they get worse with each one that has come out, but like ever so slightly.
So 4 is going to be trash, I think, what you're saying.
Maybe. I'm not going to lie. Just based on what we've seen, it still just looks like Metroid Prime. It doesn't look like anything has really been updated. Like the graphics look, you know, a little bit better and this and that, but specifically in like the combat looks the exact same, which is not a bad thing. Like, those games still play perfectly fine. I was just hoping that they would maybe spice it up just a little bit. And it looks like they might have with some of the, because, you know, I mean, I haven't played the game, I don't really know how it feels, but with like the psychic abilities or whatever that they showed off in this, with like, you know, Samus being able to shoot a beam and you can control where the beam goes or something like that. That kind of stuff seems cool to me. I don't know how much fun it actually will be. I'm still excited for it. I'm still going to buy it day one, pretty much no matter what. But I haven't been super blown away with what I've seen so far. Whenever the trailer first starts, I'm like popping off though. I'm just excited to see anything Metroid Prime 4 related, because I've been waiting for it for so long. They announced this game in 2018 or 19. I don't remember.
It's been a long time.
They announced it so long ago. Yeah. It's been an insane amount of time. So to just get like any crumbs at all is just a blessing. I'm mad that we did not get a date. I think that's the thing that I'm the most upset about, is that it's still just coming in 2025.
That's why I was kind of referencing earlier, I don't understand the timing of this, because if you're not going to put a date on it, to me that implies that you are saving that information maybe for next week with the Switch 2 thing. But then why not just wait to show it there? I don't understand.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Unless they're just so cautious about putting a date on it until they know for sure it's going to hit it because of how long it was delayed already. That's the only other thing with that one specifically. But same thing with Pokemon. Like, why are you showing it again without a date if you are going to either show it again next week to, you know, highlight that's something that can enhance your Switch 2 experience at launch or whatever too, or just hold it. I don't know. Very strange to me.
Yeah, because I don't think that Nintendo is dodging GTA. Like, no. I don't think they care anything about what Rockstar is doing. I think the audience crossover is not that relevant to Nintendo's, you know, business strategy or game plan or anything. Like,
yeah, two totally different.
They're Nintendo fans, and they're gonna they're gonna buy Nintendo games, you know, and then literally everyone else in the world is gonna buy GTA on launch day.
So I will say that I do think that because Prime is probably a slightly more niche audience, there could be some people you lose from that crowd. They're like, all right, well, I just got to Switch 2 and I'm going to get GTA. I'll get a Mario Kart so I have something to play with it, but like I'll hold off on Prime until later. I don't know. There could be that sect of people.
That is true.
But I don't know. Maybe I look. I don't want to break your heart, man, but I saw this trailer and I was like, this is doing nothing for me, man. This is just you know, as someone who's only seen gameplay, a little gameplay from the other ones, it does look similar, but it's like what is it doing new? Like, what about this is making it stand out? And I just didn't really find anything.
And that's my whole thing is that like nothing really like stands out as like, oh, this is a cool new thing.
Yeah, like if the gimmick is telekinesis, like I've also done that in other games, and from what they were showing, even in the gameplay there, it wasn't like it was anything revolutionary or super engaging with how it's being used here.
Yeah.
So,
because I would also say like it's kind of hard to show off stuff from like a Metroid Prime game, because I would say that they're kind of slower paced games. Like there's you know this big map that you're kind of walking around and trying to find little corridors and stuff, and it's not a real like action packed, like action heavy kind of game. Like the combat is not the focus of the game. Like it's very much about like trying to figure out how to get to where you're going, or where you're supposed to be going. So I feel like it's a little bit difficult to really like show off stuff unless you have something new to show, which I just feel like they didn't.
Yeah,
and it's really unfortunate because I'm still really excited for it. Like I said, I'm still gonna buy it day one because I have to. I've been begging for it for so long that I would feel like a massive fraud if I did not buy this game day one. But
I was curious if like the narrative stuff they were hitting at was doing anything for you, because that's like the only other thing that I could see maybe pulling people in, which is not going to help with a new audience, I don't think, but like them kind of having that whatever race that seemed to be speaking in her head or whatever that were like, you're the best. I don't remember what they said exactly.
Like the chosen one or whatever. Like I'm really not sure what that's all about. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know anything about Metroid lore. I know absolutely nothing. Like the main like race in like the Metroid Prime games is the Chozo,
right?
Which I think I don't think that that's like exclusive to like Metroid Prime. I'm pretty sure that they're in other like 2D Metroids and stuff. But yeah, I don't really know what's going on with the story. I just want to walk around a cool world and, you know, get some cool power-ups and just pray that it's good.
Yeah.
Because I will be very, very sad if it comes out and I've waited this long and it's trash.
I hope so, man. Yeah, for me, it's not. I won't be getting it at this point, based off what I've seen. I know people were super high on the Metroid Prime 1 remake, remaster, whatever, for the Switch. So maybe I'll go back and try that at some point and see if that convinces me more. But I don't know.
You can borrow it, bro. I got it physical. I'll come bring it to your house. How about that? You can try it.
Dude, you're gonna want me to play through Xenoblade before that, so that's
true.
But one of those is probably gonna be like 20 hours, and one of them is like 100, so it might be easier. Maybe I will actually play Metroid in that game. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of a stinker of a direct, in my opinion. Really, very little to get excited about. But I have to just think they had some sort of ad deals with some of these publishers, like you have to show off our games, and so they just had to put something together, because otherwise this could have been an email. But you know, yeah,
pretty much.
Hopefully, it is what it is. That means that they're saving it all for this week. So fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
With that, you want to dive right into our big ol' chonker of a tier list for this week?
Yeah, let's get into it, dude. We've got a lot of ground to cover on this one.
So let's walk folks through, I guess, what this tier list is exactly. So we have taken a list of Switch games throughout its entire life. May it soon rest in peace. That at least one of us have dabbled in. And I think that, do we have any criteria? I mean, we just pulled up a list that had a bunch of them, and we didn't include some that maybe we've dabbled a little bit, but didn't have that much to say because this list is already like almost 30 games strong, or whatever. So
yeah,
some that were like remakes or whatever, we didn't want to touch on those again, like the Captain Toad.
Yeah, any ports or remakes we kind of tried to leave off. There aren't many remakes that I think would be like, like Mario RPG remake is the only one that kind of like stands out to me as like, whoa, this is like a really big remake. But I mean, I didn't play it, so I don't really have any words on it.
I played it for like 5 hours, and the soundtrack made by our Lord and Savior Yoko Shimomura is fantastic, and I really love the art style. It is a very simple RPG, so I kind of fell off a little bit because I was not. But the writing is funny. I think that game actually has a lot of charm. I do want to go back to it potentially at some point, but not to tip my hand on how I feel about the Switch as a whole, which does have some great games. I just find myself not wanting to use that system very much. So you will hear me say many, many times on this list, I've played it, but I didn't beat it because I want to love these things and they just lose me at some point usually, but we'll get to that. So that is unfortunately one of the Mario RPG, the categories that it falls under. But if we were to put on the list, I would probably say it's like, I think it's good. Like maybe.
Okay. All right. That's not bad. I'll take that. Yeah. Well, see, we're off to a good start. See, you're not that much of a Switch hater.
No. And just to get ahead of the allegations here. All right. A lot of people in my life, think I'm a Nintendo and or Switch hater, and I love Mario more than most of you people ever will. Okay. Like I love me a 3D platformer. You heard me in the first episode say Astrobot's one of the best games I've ever played. Look, I love what I love. I just don't know that Nintendo has been speaking to me as much lately. But I still appreciate a lot of what they do, so.
Yeah, definitely not over the past like few years. I feel like in the last like 3 years, they've kind of fallen off a little bit. Maybe in the last like 2 years, just because like, the generation cycle is like kind of winding down. Everybody knows that, a Switch 2 is coming at some point because I mean, the hardware just can't keep up.
Yeah.
Like it's getting more and more outdated by the day, and we desperately need an upgrade.
And like when I say I don't like spending a lot of time on my Switch, like I'm not a tech snob for the most part. Like I do not have the most crazy PC ever. I don't have to play things on the highest settings ever. Like I'll play stuff on PlayStation over my PC, even if my PC might be a little bit stronger, just because it's more comfortable, because I can be on my sofa and my couch, and because I can get trophies in it. Like I just have things that I prefer. But like when I think about games that speak to me the most, it's like usually really narrative focused stuff, which Nintendo just does not have anything really of note with, except for the Xenoblade games, according to you, which I understand. We'll get to that. And
sorry,
there are some. Yeah, for our audio listeners, Andrew very adamantly started waving his cursor around to make sure I didn't forget. But I don't know. I hope this can be sort of therapeutic as we go through it, and I can try and discover why some of these games. Like I've tried almost everything on this list, and I just there's something that about Nintendo games where they lose me at some point in ways that other ones don't, and I can still recognize and or appreciate the quality for a lot of them. And so it's not always just it's not you, it's me. But sometimes it is them. So we'll figure it out as we go. But we've got a lot of games to get through here. Should we just dive right in?
Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's kind of start with like I feel like this is a nice middle ground in Super Mario Wonder. How do you feel about starting with that one?
Yeah, this is one of the ones I have beaten. I would put Wonder in the A tier.
In the A tier?
Yep. Oh, you have S? Okay. S plus. This man is going rogue for the Nintendo tier list. He did not tell me he was messing with our patented, consistent tiers we've had every episode.
Sorry,
so
dude. There's a game or two that deserves to be up there.
Oh my god, we're gonna have to fight even more. That's crazy.
Just for the audio listeners, we have an S plus, an S, A, B, C, and a D tier.
This is our biggest tier list we've done yet. So like, maybe worth having an extra tier. I would have put like, I don't know, an F instead of a T or instead of S plus.
I was about to say we can throw in an F tier. I don't know.
We'll see. There's not many that I would say. I don't think they're really And that's the
Yeah.
problem with Nintendo, man. It's like there aren't really any Fs, but there's just like half this list would be in B probably if it was my own, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I would say Wonder is probably A. I think Wonder is a really good 2D platformer. It looks, you won't hear me say this very much today. It looks gorgeous on the OLED specifically. The colors pop so much. Nintendo, please give us an OLED option with the Switch 2. I'm begging you.
Please.
Yeah, I played that game entirely handheld, and I think the music's fun. It's I don't feel like I remember again, another thing you're gonna hear me say a lot. There's a lot I don't remember about this. Like I played through it and I struggle to think of like moments that really pop and stand out for me, but like obviously the wonder mechanic where the levels change and get super crazy is a really novel thing. And I think yeah, that makes it stand out more than a lot of other just standard 2D platformers. So what do you think?
Yeah, I'm very in the same boat with you on this. I think that this is an A tier. I have not beat very many 2D Mario games. Like World, I don't even think that I beat Mario 3, truthfully. I've watched Mario 3 a lot.
I don't go back and play old games very often, dude, but I went back and I beat Mario 3 like 5 years ago or something like that. Like that was a
Mario 3 is a fantastic game.
3 and World are, here's a debate. Which do you think is better, 3 or World? I mean,
I'm a 3 guy, even though I beat World and I haven't beat 3.
I was about to say, oh, you haven't even beat it. What a dumb question. I'm sure you're a World guy. Dude, it's World. It's so World. It's
what?
World is gorgeous. The like secret levels in that game that you can find are so like organic and I feel satisfying. The star levels are so crazy and so fun. I mean, I'll admit my bias in that was one of the first games I ever played on my Game Boy Advance, which was like one of the first systems I ever had.
Oh,
so
man.
That was like the first two games I ever credit to being like the first real games I played were Kingdom Hearts that I rented from a Blockbuster as a kid on my PS2 and Super Mario World on my Game Boy Advance. Like I got so much crap as a kid that I would play. One of the other games I got with my Game Boy Advance was like Spy Kids 2 or something, which was like, it was fun.
You sound like me. I had a Brother Bear game.
Dude, I had so many licensed games. And like, because my parents knew I loved licensed, like they were like, oh, he likes Disney movies. We'll give him Disney games. Or he loves Nickelodeon cartoons. We'll give him every SpongeBob game ever made. I had the PC, the Game Boy Advance, and the PS2 versions of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, the game, and all three of them were different. I will have you know. So
they were in their bag for those games. I remember having the Game Boy one.
Crazy, dude. It was crazy. And like I liked all those, but like when you're talking real games, you know, Super Mario World, iconic for me. Even though I'm more of a 3D Mario guy.
I definitely think that they're both great. I think that I just like how 3 feels better, like just in like the general like platforming.
It is tighter. It is tighter. But like World still feels great to me. But
yeah, definitely.
Sorry,
but I think the Wonder is maybe the best feeling 2D Mario game that I've played.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction because I do think the modern 2D Marios are pretty bland. And this was
all of the new Soup games are just they're not it for me. And everybody tells me the new Super Mario Brothers U is like really good, and like I've played it and like the level design is cool and stuff. That's one that I don't stick with. I made it to like the 3rd world and it was okay.
It's totally fine, but like I don't know, they're better 2D platformers.
Yeah, so this is definitely a step in the right direction. The stuff with the Wonder Flower, I will never forget whenever I first booted up this game. I think it's the 2nd level when you get the Wonder Flower and the piranha plants start singing and dancing and doing this whole giant musical number. I'm like laughing the entire time. It's like the funniest thing ever for me. And that was the moment that I fell in love with this game. Like I beat it all the way through, 100%ed it, got every single thing that you could possibly get in this game, all the secret levels, and even the last level, which was really hard. The badge system is really cool.
Yes, I forgot about that. That is cool.
Yeah, all the badges, you know, the fact that you can, you know, grab your cap and use it as like a little like Breath of the Wild glider to like get across some gaps and stuff, or just like cool little abilities like that, you know, being able to like climb up walls or like, you know, any like crazy stuff that comes with that. There's a lot of really good ideas in this game that is completely unique to this game that I think I definitely think that A is a very, very good spot.
Yep, definitely.
Next up, we're going on to kind of a stinker. I don't know if you have played this game, Chris, but
That's
Mario Strikers
It
Battle
looks tiny
League.
on my screen. Yeah, I have not played that one. No.
I am a massive Mario Strikers fan. On the GameCube and on the Wii, I played both of those games like religiously. They were some of my favorite games that I had on both of those systems. So whenever Nintendo announced this at a direct, I'm like over the moon about it. I'm hyping it up to everyone on Twitter. I'm like, guys, please, everyone, come kick some balls with me whenever this game comes out. And it comes out, and it's unlike or much like many of the other Mario sports games, it is quite lacking in content. The general gameplay of it feels fine, but it's just kind of go play soccer, and that's it. So it's like it doesn't really do anything cool for me.
Doesn't the I mean, this is a given, I guess, because it's a Switch game. The online also kind of sucks, right? Like especially bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, the online is complete buns.
Yeah.
There's a cool so it's like there was like 3 modes. It was like exhibition mode, tournament mode, and then league mode or like something like that, where you can make your own league like with your friends and like go online and like fight other teams or something like that. I don't have a big enough friend group that's big into Mario Strikers to be able to do that.
You didn't get a whole group.
Much like probably anybody else who picked up this game, like nobody's picking up this game saying, all right, let's get the boys together and play some Mario Strikers. But yeah, and then that's basically it. There's not a whole lot else to do. There's some cool like the characters all have like stats, and you can get gear that like up their stats, you know, whether it be their pass speed or how curved the ball is whenever you try to shoot it into the net, which helps you like get it around the goalie or like cool stuff like that. But it's just like it still basically did nothing for me. I played it for about 5 hours and was like, man, this game right here is probably my biggest disappointment of the entire Switch console cycle.
Damn, the biggest disappointment of an entire console. That's pretty damning. That's probably
so
a
this
D.
one.
Yep.
For me is very prominently in the D tier, unfortunately.
Well, R.I.P.
Metroid Dread. How you feel about Metroid Dread?
I think this game is great. I think this game is fantastic. I would, based off of our tier list, and looking at what is ahead, I would probably put it in S. I
agree with you.
I think it's a fantastic Metroidvania. It feels very great. The challenge that game has is very satisfying to get through. I could say this about basically every Metroidvania I've ever played. There are times I didn't know exactly where I was supposed to go, and I got kind of frustrated and or lost and or bored. But that's kind of just a staple of the genre.
Comes
for me
with the
at this
territory.
Point. But I remember the fights being very satisfying. The counter system is very good. Again, one of the first games I played on my OLED. Looks fantastic on the OLED.
First game I played on mine too. Yep.
And yeah, it's just great. I mean, we get a lot of Metroidvanias, and so in that sense, you know, you want to give respect to the ones that came before and paved the way. It's a genre I do like but sometimes can be a little tough for me to get through because of I just get lost, or you know, I find them a little tedious. But this one had some really cool vibes. I appreciated that it was a slightly darker aesthetic than a lot of what Nintendo does. I would say it's just a really great Metroidvania. What about you?
Yeah, I'm right up there with you. I mean, this game being teased so long ago, because I mean, this is Metroid 5. Like this, I think this was first teased in like 2006 or something. I'm pretty sure that in Metroid Prime, whenever you scan something, there's like a tease for this game in there on the freaking GameCube. Like,
these Metroid
like
games, I'm noticing a pattern of taking a really long time to come out.
Yeah. Because I mean, this is the first new Metroid game that wasn't a remake since Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. Like, it's been a long time. We had Metroid Samus Returns on the 3DS, which is made by the same devs as Metroid Dread. I think it's Mercury Steam.
Yep.
And I think that game is good, but it's a remake of the worst 2D Metroid, so it's like, how good could it possibly be? Which kind of like, it kind of gave me some excitement for this because I thought that game felt very good. It played nice. The actual like, I call it like the gunplay, but like, you know, like how the arm cannon feels whenever you're like moving it around and, you know, kind of trying to aim in all these different places feels really good. It's more story focused than I thought it would be, which is a big plus for me because I'm not someone who knows a lot about Metroid story, but I enjoy it when it's there. I think it's very interesting whenever it's there.
I remember the ending being really
fights.
crazy too. Like as someone again who I can't remember a lot of specific details, and I don't find like again not knowing a lot of backstory. There were some parts I was lost, but I do remember the very end kind of being like that's wild.
Yeah, the end is nuts. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And then the whole like horror element of it with the Emmys.
Yeah.
The big, you know, robots that you basically can't kill.
Yes.
Dude,
it's
so like it's such a cool like atmospheric game.
It's like the coolest Samus has ever been. Like that one, like it's only the first or second boss where you have those cutscenes after you beat it, and she just kind of like shoots behind her, and like, you know, the classic like I'm too cool to look at you or whatever, and like slicing through stuff. Yeah, it's really great. I think it's one of the best games on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree. Yeah, S tier is good for that one. Next up, we got Mario Tennis Aces. You played some of this one, right?
I did. Yeah, it's like a C or D. It probably C, I guess. I feel like
I'm down for C on this one. Yeah, I think that it's infinitely better than Strikers.
Yeah, the core gameplay is okay, but I just remember like I played through a lot of it, and the campaign was very grindy and boring, and the online, the meta was just insane, dude. Like people would just pick these super overpowered like you could just abuse it and cheese it.
It was just Bowser Jr. and Waluigi.
Yes, it was so busted, which is never fun. Yeah, it's like if you're just playing casually with friends, I do actually think it, you know, there's some fun to be had there, but not much.
Yeah. This was whenever this game came out, this was like all the rage at Smash tournaments for a little bit. Like we had a bunch of Smash setups, and then we had a Mario Tennis Aces setup.
That's crazy.
Every tournament
you didn't keep a Mortal Kombat setup. That's crazy. I don't like it, bro. Anyway.
Because this game, like, it kind of plays like a fighting game. Like you have like a super and like all of this like crazy, like there's some weird like some definitely like some really technical like kind of things to this game that I wasn't expecting, like racket breaking and like all of that kind of like really cool stuff. I grinded this game whenever it came out. Like this game lasted me about 2 months.
That's crazy. Like, it was like a week for me, but I did enjoy it in that week until the online really made me mad, and then I was like,
I think that this is the best of the Mario sports games that came out on the Switch. I think that this is the best one.
Yeah,
like by far. Some people tell me that golf is good.
Golf is okay.
I hopped off the Mario sports train. I didn't even bother with golf.
It's okay. It again doesn't really do anything to make itself stand out, I think, with this iteration of it versus some of the other ones. So I had a friend. In fact, I had friends who were staying with me at the time, and one of them loves golf in real life, and they brought their Switch, and so they got it, and we just played it while they were staying here, and it was it was fun in that environment. But like once they were gone, I was like, well, I don't miss this very much.
I'm not jumping back into this.
Exactly. Yeah. So it has been since Mario Hoops 3-on-3 for the DS that I've had a Mario sports game that I have really loved. In general, they are all just kind of either okay to bad, I would say, and I would love for something to really make them pop again. But
Mario Party Jamboree, the latest entry in the Mario Party series.
Yes, it is.
I think this is the best. I mean, it's the best Mario Party game on Switch. For sure, right? Like
it's the only Mario Party
and we can go ahead and.
So I've not played Super Mario Party, so it's the only one I have played on the Switch. So I don't have a point of comparison.
I was gonna say there's this. I did not play. I think it's called Mario Party Superstars.
Yeah,
was the other one.
It's very confusing how similar all the names are and the covers.
All of the names are they're way too similar. I hate it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, but that was more of a like a greatest hits kind of game. And everybody liked that one more than Super Mario Party. We can go ahead and do Super Mario Party and Mario Party Jamboree together.
Okay. You're up for Super Mario Party. That's all you.
Yeah. Super Mario Party, I think, is a pretty lackluster attempt at trying to bring old school Mario Party back. Because Mario Party 9 and 10, I don't know if you played those games, but it had the cart.
I played.
Where everybody.
I think I played like one game. The last one I owned before Jamboree was 8 on the Wii. So
8 is such a banger too.
I liked 8 a lot.
I love 8.
Dude, that cover art, it was so bright and colorful, dude. I remember I was looking at GameStop when it came out. I was like, be organized in the shelves. So be like, that's a pretty cover.
I forgot you worked at GameStop. Wow, you just like unlocked some stuff in my brain.
Brief side quest. Back in high school.
But then with 9 and 10, they put everyone together in a cart, and everybody stays together the entire game. If you roll you aren't even playing for like a power star. You're playing for mini stars, which terrible. Like you get from if you're the person that rolls and the cart passes through like a certain checkpoint or whatever, you get some mini stars. It's like it's so like not fun. So then, to come back to Super Mario Party, and it's back to all 4 people free for all. Like here's 5 boards. That's it. 5 boards, and they're all really, really small. Like super small. The mini games are okay, but it's just like you can tell that they're like trying to bring back old school Mario Party in a way, but kind of modernize it. And it just like it doesn't work for me at all. Yeah. I think that this is we played this for a little bit and it was fine, but there was just not enough to keep me going. I do think that it's better than Mario Strikers Battle League.
Yeah, I have not heard good things about it, so I trust that. I have no qualm with that placement at D tier.
Yeah, but then Mario Party Jamboree comes out. That game is so good.
It is good. It is good. I think the maps are pretty fun. I think it loses some points because of the 8-player, 16-player, 20-player mode. I can't remember how many it is, but there's like a bigger group game mode that you can do.
Like the triathlon mode or whatever.
That one actually, I thought it would never be the main mode. That one was actually kind of fun, where it's like you rapid fire. you're doing like the bike, and then you rapid fire the mini games. It was the other one they added where it's like you're fighting the giant Bowsers and like have to go pick up the items to shoot at it, and like you would do mini games to get your power ups in between. I thought that mode kind of was pretty bad,
a little stinky,
and I do think there are some mini games that are a little stinky, like the I don't know if it's different if you play locally, but the main maps where you can get I don't know what they're called, but like you can call in, if you land on their space, the Rosalinas or the Donkey Kongs or the Marios for 3 turns to follow you on the board, and you get like some sort of boon, some bonus.
Oh yeah, like the Jamboree, the buddy, whatever space. Yeah.
But you have to play a mini game to determine who wins them. And like specifically the Donkey Kong one, man, it's like whoever lands on their space gets an advantage whenever you do the mini game to determine who's going to get that character to follow them around. And it is literally impossible to win that if you are not the person who has gotten that benefit, because at least when I was playing online, it was like the window of opportunity they have to miss something is so huge, and it is so tiny if you are the other person. So there's just, it's Mario Party. It's not that serious, but there are some that are less fun and a little less balanced. So I don't think it's like perfect, but it is. I have had the most fun with that Mario Party than I have in a maybe ever still. So I would put it like, I'd probably like put it B. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. I feel like B tier for most Mario Parties is like perfectly fine. Yeah. Like I think that's perfectly fair. I love this game. We've played maybe like 20 rounds of it, and every time I've had a blast with it. I think that the buddy like mini game or the Jamboree mini games are like the best. I think that those are the best parts of the game.
There are some that are really fun.
Like my favorite mini games.
The cart one, and then there's like the Yoshi like Fall Guys-esque level that you have to do.
Yeah.
Some of them are really fun.
Yeah, so many of those are so cool, and I think the boards are a lot more interesting than they were in Super Mario Party. And there's more boards. They bring back a couple. They bring back West. I keep wanting to say Westworld. I know it's a TV show, but
crazy. I'd play that board.
But the Western Land.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
From Mario Party 2. It's like that kind of stuff is so cool, and they add a lot of cool like single player content. I think this is a really really solid Mario Party.
Yeah, I haven't even touched the single player content, so
it's fun. It's more like cute. Like it's not something that like I would like stick with and play, but it's cute enough to keep me engaged for about an hour or so.
There you go. What more could you want from a Mario Party?
Yeah.
You said you played 20 rounds. Like you played 20 games. Like you played it 20 times. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. I've played it like somewhere between 5 and 10 probably. No, I'm more than 5 because I played like I think every map, and there's like at least 7 or 8 maps I think.
Yeah.
That's crazy. No, I'm glad you like it though. No.
Yeah.
Next up is a game that I think hopefully we can agree on. I mean, I feel like actually you might be lower on this than I am. This is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which I think is the crown jewel of the Nintendo Switch, and I would put it in S+.
I would agree this. Yeah, it's definitely an S+. I don't know about the crown jewel, but it's definitely...
It's just like the perfect Switch
for
game.
Sure.
Like it actually, for what it is, it runs incredibly well. I still think it's hilarious that it has that one glitch where whenever you first click, like on the character select screen, it's always just blank for a second there, like never loads in correctly.
They just never
out of all the patches they had, they never corrected that. Otherwise,
all of the renders are like still loading.
Yeah, basically a flawless game. I mean, the best roster of any fighting game ever. It's super enjoyable for people if you are a casual or if you're hardcore. I mean, in my opinion, I'm not as hardcore as you are. I know you have some complaints with it versus some of the other Smashes at least, but certainly more competitive than any other game on the Switch ever has been or will be. I think that's at least fair to say, don't you think?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, definitely.
Online,
aside from like Splatoon, I know that the Splatoon competitive community is like pretty deep in their bag.
That is true.
But yeah, I feel like that's even more niche than Smash.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The online could certainly be better, but it's the best Smash has ever been at least, and sometimes works well. It's definitely the most functioning online game on Switch that I've played, outside of like maybe Mario Kart, I guess, but even that isn't flawless.
I can agree with that. Especially if you're hardwired. Yeah. Like it makes it a million times better to play.
Yeah.
Like trying to play this thing off of like Wi-Fi, sometimes it's a little brutal. Yeah. Especially whenever it first came out, and I felt like the online whenever it first came out was like passable at best. Like now it's like it's at least decent. Like I can play games and not feel like I'm banging my head against the wall constantly trying to fight with my internet connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, the online's great. My only real complaint with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is World of Light, like the single player campaign.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of it.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Like I liked for like an offline experience, I liked having something where I could just kind of do bite-sized fights to get spirits, like collect those. It definitely could have been more, especially with how incredibly dope the cutscenes were for like the opening cinematic, where like the Master Hand comes and like wipes out, or not the Master Hand, but the Galeem, comes and wipes everyone out and everything. I would have loved to get a proper story mode for sure, but for what it was good. But
I think it was more that I went into it thinking that it was going to be Subspace Emissary, like from Brawl.
I wish,
and it was so not Subspace Emissary. It was like event mode from all the other Smash games, but like 30 hours long, and like by the end of it, it kind of felt like a little bit of a chore. But I do think the boss fights are really freaking cool. Like the final boss I was popping off, dude. It's so freaking cool. Oh my god.
Well, and it's cool that it's like got references to both the games that the characters are from, and also from the previous Smash games, like including Brawl, which I really appreciated. So it definitely
like
could
I'll
be
never
better,
forget the one spirit that always like stuck in my head from one of those little matches was like I think her name was Joan from Animal Crossing, the little boar or the pig that like sells you the turnips.
Mhm.
And the entire match is just Peach just using down B the entire match. She's just pulling turnips out of the ground constantly. I'm like, dude, this is such a cool, like, nice little touch. Like, there's so many little things like that where they're all like thematic to like whatever the spirit is that you're trying to get from the match.
Yeah, and I think that's why I like it more than I thought I would, because it is simplistic, but even in its simple form, it is still a love letter to the games that it's kind of harkening back to, which is a level of touch that I thought helped elevate it beyond just kind of mindlessness. So.
Yeah. I think this is the most ambitious that like a fighting game has maybe ever gotten.
Yeah.
Like there's just so much to it, and it's still being played by, you know, millions and millions of people like daily.
Yeah.
Probably. Like it truly is just one of the best games on the whole console. From a competitive standpoint, it's a troublesome topic for me, but it's it started out really good, and then DLC kind of ruined it. But then Sora came out, and Sora is in freaking Smash, dude. Like, I still can't believe it. I go back and I watch that trailer every now and then, and like my eyes start to like well up, like almost every time.
Dude, I know people from like when I streamed have seen my reaction. I think the video of that reveal trailer, but at some point that would be fun to do on the podcast if we like just go back and show our different reactions to that, because I know we were just losing it, man. I mean, it's just,
I wish that I'd recorded mine so bad.
I thought you did. No,
that was like before I started recording my reactions to everything. I was like clutching this Donald Duck Squishmallow the whole time, and then the keychain pops up in the trailer, and I literally like chuck it across the room, and then I just like go into like fetal position ball and just start like bawling like a baby, like ugly cry. And then dude, so many of those other trailers too are like so sick.
They're peak. Yeah, no, I literally just told Mayor, I was like, hey, can you just record me on your phone just in case? I just feel like, and I don't usually react to stuff, even when I was streaming. That wasn't really my thing very much, at least not from like if it was like just a talk about it. It wasn't like I'm trying to get some, you know, huge sort of visual reaction or anything like that. I mean, that's fine. But like, I just knew that if it was that, it was going to be one of the few instances where I would genuinely react in such a way that it would be fun to experience again. So I'm glad I have a record of that. But man, those trailers as a whole, like you said, just I want Smash to be back just so I can look forward to those. God, dude. Oh, I think about the Sephiroth trailer all the time too. Like, and just the amount of like insane like third-party characters that they have. Yeah. Like freaking Kazuya, Sephiroth, like all of these like insane, like what are these characters doing in Smash? It's nuts. It's so cool. And then Joker, like that was the first DLC character on the night that Smash came out. I remember we were all sitting around GameStop waiting for midnight to hit so that we could all go inside and get Smash. And our friend Michael walks up to us because he's at the same GameStop as us, and he's like, Joker from Persona just got announced for everyone is just chilling in the car like, what is happening right now, dude? None of us were watching the Game Awards because we didn't think that anything would be there. I'm just like that level of like hype going into every Nintendo Direct, knowing that like some crazy Joker or Sephiroth moment could happen at any moment. It was just it was one of my favorite times that I've been alive. It was such a perfect bookend too, of like, it started with Joker, one of my favorite characters from like one of my favorite games of all time. It ended with Sora, one of my favorite games of all time. It's like arguably my two favorite series. I think pretty honest. Like at this point, Yakuza would probably be third, I guess, maybe. So it's like, but I still think Persona and Kingdom Hearts are like 1 and 2 for me. So it's so special. Yeah, it's so special. But
and truly is a one of a kind game. I don't think we'll ever get anything like it ever again. So thank you, Sakurai.
Thank you
for everything. But yeah, that's let's move on to Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. Okay, we said no ports. 3D World is not included in this. I'm just ranking Bowser's Fury in this. I don't know if you played Bowser's Fury.
I did. Yep, I beat it.
You did. Okay, cool. I thought that it was super fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I was a really big fan of it. I I think that some of like the design choices of it were like a little bit weird with like having to go to like each little level, because for those that don't know, this is basically like an open world Mario game. Like you're dropped into this big map where there's
like an open zone, I would say, because it's not
open zone.
It's not huge.
Yeah.
It's like one big zone.
Yeah, and then there's like all of these like little kind of sub levels within the zone that you go in, and you get cat shines, which are basically like the power stars of, you know, like the Mario 64 and those kind of things that you collect in that. But every level has like 5 of them, and you can just go back and forth between all the different levels, and you ride on Plessy, the little dinosaur, to like kind of fast travel around. And in the middle of doing all that, this big giant like super dark scary Bowser just breaks up all of your momentum and decides to fight you every so often, and it's definitely really fun. I had a good time with it, but
it's great. I do think the Bowser stuff is the weakest part of it. Like I remember especially the ending, I found that last fight to be kind of annoying. But the open zone mechanic of like a almost open world Mario platformer, I thought was really cool. And I really enjoyed getting all of those stars and stuff, or cat shines or whatever they were called. I would probably lean A, like top of A maybe. Oh, you're gonna put a B.
Really? I was about to say, I don't know if I like it better than Wonder. I really like Wonder.
I like Wonder. I'm just such a 3D over 2D Mario
guy.
I mean, Wonder's obviously got more to it, but like, I don't know. What were you gonna say?
And I do have a lot of love for 3D World, and it
you
does,
said we weren't including
like,
that. You said we weren't including that.
Well, no. I know. I'm more saying that Bowser's Fury adopts so many things from 3D
Yeah,
World.
that's true.
That, yeah, I can maybe see. Okay, yeah. Oh, that's so rough, dude. It's like asking me to pick between like my 2 favorite children. Like,
we all know you do have a favorite, though. I mean, come on, they say that now. It is tough. It is tough.
Yeah.
Wonder obviously has more to it. I think Wonder is a more creative game.
And that's my whole thing, is like the creativity of Wonder is just like, it's so, it might be the most creative thing like that I've played on the console.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like, it's tough.
It's a rough one.
Yeah, it's tough. I could go either way. I mean, it sounds like you're leaning more Wonder above Bowser's Fury. I
am just a little bit. I kind of want to put Wonder above Bowser's Fury.
That's fine. That's fine.
Just a tad. I really liked my time with Wonder. Whereas with Bowser's Fury, there were a couple times where I was like, okay, sure. Like, Wonder, I think is pretty close to getting like a perfect like 2D Mario platformer.
Yeah. That's fair.
Whereas we have Mario Maker 2. Have you played much Mario Maker 2?
Okay, I played the first one and the second one, and this is the typical Nintendo problem that we're about to have again when we discuss the next game. If the line blurs in my head, which was Mario Maker 1 and which was Mario Maker 2, because it's really just more of the same. Did Mario Maker 2 did have a campaign, right?
Yes.
Okay, I think
Mario Maker 1 did not.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I definitely did beat all of the Mario Maker 2 campaign, and I remember liking it. I did make a couple of levels that were...
Oh, yeah?
I thought were fun. I remember I was at a time where I would like have a friend come over and be like, all right, I want you to try this level. And I was like pretty proud of it. I didn't do it that often, but there was like 3 or 4. I like tried to do one in each of the different styles that you could pick from. And obviously the creativity that people could use or display with the online levels that other people would make is insane.
Yeah.
I just remember wishing it got more support. Like I remember thinking I wish there was a little more to it.
Because I think it only got like 3 updates.
Yeah.
Like,
everyone was thinking there was going to be another like of the 4 styles, they thought they were going to add like a 5th or 6th style or something like that. And I don't think that ever happened.
Yeah.
So
I'm definitely, I mean, they put like the 3D World style in this. They made 3D World into like a 2D thing.
Yeah.
Which I think is like the coolest thing ever. But I'm I'm more in the boat with Mario Maker. I'm in the boat of I like watching this game, but I don't like playing this game.
Really?
I think yeah, I think that like the physics of Mario himself feel like really bad. He's like
Yeah.
really
Interesting.
he's really like
Like in all four
floaty.
of the modes?
Yeah, in all the yeah, he feels like roughly the same in all the modes.
Yeah.
To me at least. He's like really floaty and he has a lot of like I guess gravity or like his momentum is like insane. Like it's so hard to like actually steer like where he's going. You have to like pull back so early or so fast to like try to get exactly where you want him to go. I just feel like it's a really hard game
I feel like
to control, especially for like some harder levels and stuff.
I could be wrong because it has been a long time since I played it. I thought it was like that with the newer modes that they had in there, like the ones that were based off like New Super Mario Bros. U or like 3D World or whatever. But I thought like the older ones, like because it's New Super Mario Bros. Mario 3,
Super Mario. It's Mario Bros. 1, Mario 3,
3D World,
Mario World,
and then Mario
New
World.
Soup, 3D World.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking the older ones, like it played more in the style of those, but it has been so long I can't remember for sure. But
And see, and that's what I thought it would be going into it was that they would kind of play like those. But I specifically remember being like, whoa, like this does not feel like World. This does not feel like 3. Like it did not keep me around for long.
huh.
Just like simply based off of that. Like I did beat the campaign and stuff. I didn't stick around to make any levels. I played a couple of like, you know, levels that were made like on the thing or whatever. But it was just like it wasn't too much fun for me.
That's surprising.
Yeah.
Where
It was really disappointing.
Where are you thinking?
I mean, I still think the people that like love this game, like the content creators that I watch, like they love this game. They played this game for like several thousand hours.
Yeah.
Like it's all that they play. They just make levels constantly and they still do it like to this day. Like so I might just be like hot take, you know, minority on this. Because I do genuinely think that it's so much fun to watch other people play this game, and there's so many cool little like technical things that you can do. Like you can break this game so easy in the creator mode. I see so many times like just some wonky stuff is happening because people have figured out like how to break it, and I do think that the creativity in this game is off the charts. I'm like in like the B tier for this one. Like
Okay.
I know that I talked it down a good bit, but I enjoy watching it enough that I've gotten enough enjoyment out of it.
I was gonna say I wouldn't want it any lower than B. I do think it
Yeah.
needs to be above Jamboree, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
I probably would put it in A, but
Yeah. I mean, we can put it in A. I truthfully do think that it's like it is still a very good game, even though that I didn't enjoy it as much as I did.
I was in the AB range. So like if you feel really strong about it, we can leave it at the top of B for now, because I do think A is going to be crowded, because I feel like that's where a lot of Nintendo stuff is going to sit.
A lot of stuff is going to land.
So there's an argument to be made. We can leave it there for now. I might come back later.
Okay. Yeah, perfect. Splatoon 2. This is the one that you played, correct?
Yep. Yeah, we were
talking off the pod.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out if you would play 2 or 3 because
they're all the same. Dude, all these Splatoon games are the exact same, bro. They're so just here's more. I don't know. It's fine, but and they feel pretty
it's
good.
Nintendo's Call of Duty.
Yeah, it really is. They're well polished enough, but like
I think this Splatoon is super fun.
yeah.
I didn't play 3. I played the hell out of 1. I played so much Splatoon 1. Also, I'm a big Wii U fan, so like anything that comes out for the Wii U, I was just grinding. That was my main system for like 3 years.
Really the biggest Wii U stan there ever has been or will be.
But I think the Splatoon 2 is really fun. The campaign is super fun and super creative. That was my favorite part about Splatoon 1 was the campaign. So then to get into Splatoon 2 and the campaign is still as fun as it was. The multiplayer is super cool. They added a bunch of new game modes.
They just ended support for it, I feel like, really quickly, didn't they? Like,
yeah,
they were not. I remember
so.
at least following along with a lot of the Splatfest they would do where you had to pick a side, like, are you team ketchup or team mustard? And like, even if I didn't compete that much, like, I appreciated that those were kind of wonky and fun, but I don't feel like they really kept it up very much.
I think that there was a DLC there was like a big DLC for it.
Yeah. But I remember the
like a big
lore
expansion.
of these games is kind of wild as far as like it's basically
The lore is
just like
crazy.
the world. It's like our world, but because of climate change and every like the water levels rising or whatever, isn't that like how everyone turned into squid
I think
people?
so.
Yeah, it's something crazy like that.
Yeah, I think that just like evolved over time into squid people or like something like that. Like it's so weird and wacky.
Yeah.
And that's what I love so much about it. Like Nintendo was like willing to like take a chance on this weird wacky idea that they have, which seems to be, I mean, Pikmin is a franchise, bro. Yeah. Like Pikmin exists and sells relatively well, so they can be wacky and wild all they want.
I appreciate that about it. I just wish they leaned more into it. Like that, from what I remember playing, like they don't really go that much in depth to it there. It's like kind of just if you happen to know or do more of your own research or whatever. I agree with what you're saying. Like it is creative, it's solid, it's fun. It just didn't stick with me at all. I kind of felt like I played a little bit and I was like, yeah, this is a solid game, but there wasn't anything there there wasn't enough substance there for me personally to feel it like I want to keep coming back. Like personally, I would put it like top of C is probably what I'm thinking.
Dang, top of C. Okay. I was thinking like bottom of B.
Yeah, either top of C or bottom of B.
So we're like in around like the same spot a little bit.
Yeah, I know people will get mad if Dustin listens to this podcast. I know he's gonna get mad about it. Big Splatoon boy, but I don't know. It is solid. I just feel like it's missing something.
I forgot about Salmon Run. Did you ever play that mode?
No, I
the
don't
like
think
horde mode.
No.
Oh, dude, that mode was so much fun. Oh man. Ooh. I'm gonna put it in the bottom of B. Sorry, that mode alone was a lot of fun for me.
Okay, we may need to redistribute this list towards the end, but if you want to put it at bottom of B for now, we can leave it there.
Yeah, let's do that for now. Let's just we can, because there's a game or two that I'd still put in C, I think, but I do think that this is still like a relatively well like polished game and it's perfectly fun, especially if you have some friends to play with. Mm-hmm. Like it's especially fun. The next game on the list I did not play, but you played, Pokemon Legends Arceus or Arceus, depending on where you live, I guess.
Yeah. Are you ready for a hot take?
Oh no. Or oh yes.
I think this is an S tier game.
Whoa!
I think it's an S tier game. I think it's possibly. Let me not say something hyperbolic here. It was the most fun I've had with a Pokemon game since the originals. Like, not, I guess my originals. The first ones I played were, which just may be part of it. The first ones I played were Diamond and Pearl. And so like to go see that region, but in this totally different time with this totally different take and this open world where the music is so good and like, the lore side of things was actually really interesting as someone who doesn't normally get that into Pokemon lore. Like the last boss battle, dude, is so cool and so satisfying. I will say I was a little biased in that this was like one of the first games I streamed back when I did stream, and it was such a great experience. Like I met so many people while I was doing that were like became a big part of my community. It was like what I was playing when I hit affiliate. So like I do have some meta context to it, but I just think that kind of comments on the appeal of it specifically. Like it was such a good game to just share with other people and like, oh, what did you look for when you were shiny hunting, or like, you know, what kind of did you decide to do? And like the side quest side of things I thought were actually pretty interesting as far as some of the different story stuff that they had going on there. The fact that you could have your team, the combat being slightly different, where you as the player could impact things a little bit more with how you chose to interact, like them having any kind of evolution on the Pokemon combat system that we've had for so long, I thought was really interesting. It didn't run that well, but yeah. I was playing it, I guess I was playing it docked, but like on my monitor, so it didn't bother me as much as it does if I put it on a big screen. I thought it ran certainly better than some of the other Pokemon games that have come since. It's just It's got the sauce, in my opinion. It's got a great
Okay.
roster. I really, really love my team that I got in there. It was like the first one that I felt motivated to like kind of do shiny hunting in. Until they nerfed it. It's so stupid. Why would you mess with that?
They nerfed it?
I'm pretty sure. I remember thinking that there was like a pretty good system you could use for it, and then I think they patched it or something like that. But yeah, it was the first Pokemon I've beaten. I have played almost every Pokemon, but I haven't beaten one since maybe the 3DS. Like, I just play them sometimes for a long time, sometimes for not a long time. But at some point, the grind or whatever, or the monotony or the feeling of I've done this before kicks in, and I just end up dropping it. I remember when I got like 7 badges. I got so close. I think it was Sword and Shield.
Dang.
But this one felt really fresh, and I loved it. I think it's great. I think it's an S tier game.
Yeah. Yeah, I could totally see it. I remember you streaming this game, and I remember thinking that it looked really fun. I specifically remember all of the like crazy Twitter clips of like people like roaming the open world.
Yes.
And all of like the wacky, like kooky stuff that would happen. This one cracks me up every time I see it. It's like somebody has like a Cyndaquil or like a Torchic or some like really, really tiny Pokemon, and like it's trying to battle like a Snorlax, this big like towering Snorlax, and it just charges up Hyper Beam and just like obliterates. Like,
yes, and like
2-pound Pokemon.
When people talk about like, oh, I want Pokemon to be like updated for like the modern times, and it's like these stupid Unreal Engine looking things or like whatever. It feels like that loses the soul. Like, this feels like an iteration of Pokemon, but still keeps that identity, in my opinion, where like this open world mechanic, like you've had those open zones in some of them, but they always feel limited, and it's always like, I don't know, still the same core, throw the Pokeball out and then just do the, you know, song and dance of make sure you hit them, but not so hard they faint, but like enough that you get them weak or whatever. But like, you never really feel like you're in danger. And this one, it's like, because you are, as the player, I feel like more directly impacting things with your trainer. And because the open world is a little less forgiving, it feels, there's more tension there in a way that there isn't in the mainline games, I think, to have those really funny things happen that just make it really unique.
Every time I think about it, sorry, it just cracks me up, dude.
It's so good.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I can totally see it. I remember whenever they first showed off this game, and I was like, this is like such an evolution, like from normal Pokemon. Like this could be, you know, Gen 9.
Yeah.
They could have just said this was like the next like Gen 9 game, and I would have been like, dude, this is so freaking cool. Like, they're listening. Like they know that, like, you know, we need to switch it up a little bit.
It's got one of the best battle themes as well in the entire series. Like, the music for that game is really good.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to hop on it.
I really recommend it, which is why I was saying earlier, I'm so disappointed that ZA is not really looking nearly as appealing as this was, because I would love for this kind of spin-off thing to be the new standard, but you know, I'll just appreciate the memories, I guess, for now that I had with this one.
Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on my Switch 1 backlog before the Switch 2 comes out. So I'll make sure that this is relatively up on the queue.
Yeah, I highly recommend it,
because I've been meaning to check it out for so long, and it's always interested me a lot. So I'm gonna boot that one up at some point pretty soon.
Do it.
But next up,
do we want to save those?
I'm not ready. I'm not ready to have this conversation with you yet.
We're save the Zeldas.
Specifically talking about Zeldas. I'm not ready to have that talk with you yet. I gotta warm up a little bit.
Yeah. Let's do that.
I threw Mario Kart 8 Deluxe up here, even though it is a port
of the
Wii U version, but it is also the best-selling Switch game. So it's like, I feel like it kind of has to be up here.
And they added like a whole game's worth of extra content to it, but it does make it kind of hard to judge it because of the fact that it's like, are we just going to judge it based off of those new tracks?
No, I'm down to judge it as a whole package. I think I'm just going to come right out I'm going to come right out of the gate with it. I think that this is the best Mario Kart game they've ever put out.
Yeah. I didn't have the Nintendo consoles growing up. So I didn't have a GameCube. So I had Mario Kart Wii.
What?
Yeah, no, I went back and played some GameCube games on the Wii, not many, but I played some. But I didn't have Double Dash, which I know is like everyone else's probably favorite. Like the two that you hear people talk about are Mario Kart 8 and Double Dash. I loved Mario Kart Wii. Like having that Wii remote and sticking it in the wheel. I was that basic kid that was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Oh no! You use the wheel?
Absolutely, dude. The way God intended.
No.
Come on now. I do really. That's the one that I have nostalgia for, even if I know it's not like a perfect game.
Mario Kart Wii is still really good.
So like Mario Kart
really
8 is pretty undeniably the best Mario Kart I've played, but like I don't come from a place that's as informed as some other people.
Yeah.
So
I mean, so like just to compare it to like 64 Double Dash, what is it? Wii. There's Mario Kart 7 on the DS. Like Mario Kart 7 is basically it takes a lot of the things from, or Mario Kart 8 takes a lot of things from Mario Kart 7, just in like how like the karts feel. Like they feel like roughly similar. The only other Mario Kart that I would say that like rivals this one for me is Mario Kart DS. That game, oh my god, that game is so good. But Double Dash is definitely up there. Wii is definitely up there. I don't think that there's really been like a bad Mario Kart game, except for maybe like the Game Boy ones and like the Super Nintendo ones. I cannot figure out those games for the life of me. But I do have a really big soft spot for 64 and for Double Dash specifically. But as soon as this game came out, it was like, wow, like they've just outdone themselves in every way. And then the Switch port comes and adds another, whatever, 12 Grand Prix or, like what, some insane number of tracks.
yeah,
Like I think it was like another like 50 tracks.
well, there was
or something like that.
Wasn't there 8 Grand Prix in the base game, and I think there's 8 Grand Prix in the DLC.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I think it
that's
literally
what
doubled
is.
it. So yeah, and there's 4, so 32 extra tracks in the deluxe version.
Yeah, they doubled all that. They added a bunch of new characters and like all this crazy stuff. And I just think that it's just the best feeling.
Are you just
Mario Kart.
You just like it because it's got the F-Zero tracks? Come on, dude.
God, the F-Zero track's so sick, dude. Oh, and they got 2 of them.
Yep, those are the best. They are definitely the best. Which I guess those were DLC. I say there was 4 Grand Prix added for 8 Grand Prix added for this. I think there was 4 Grand Prix added as DLC to the Wii U one, right? And then they just included that in the base game for this, plus 4 more. Yeah. So in total, you get 16. But if you included the DLC in the original, I think there's only 4 extra Grand Prix in the Switch version, if I remember correctly.
No, there's more.
Is there?
Because I think they like shrunk the screen, like or shrunk like how close all of the Grand Prix were together. Because I know that if you scroll down from those, there's like a whole like
a whole
8 more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a whole nother row. Because I think whenever they were doing like the DLC pack for it or whatever, it was 2 Grand Prix every time that they would come out with one. I'm pretty sure. Right. Maybe it was just 1. But they did a lot of them.
Yeah.
It lasted for like 2 or 3 years. It was so long.
Yeah.
But I mean, this for me, it's either S plus or S. Like it's like really up there. I'm leaning more towards like S.
Yeah.
Like
I think it should be S, because the fact that it is a port, like it's obviously building so much on the foundation of what was before, and the fact that like it is like when I think of like, if I'm going to play this game on my own, I'm not going to have as much fun as if I am going to play with other people.
Yeah.
And so, like the single player, excuse me, oh my god, it was like a burp that like tried to take my soul with it. The the single player stuff I think is good, but it's like, and I don't want to judge it for what it's not trying to be, but like when I think about the Switch experience specifically, I think about if I am going to take this handheld on a drive or a flight or something somewhere, I'm not going to be like having a great time. It can be fun to do the ghost time trials and stuff like that and just run the Grand Prix or whatever. But like the core of the fun comes from playing the multiplayer side of things, I think, which is, and it's peak at that. But if you're comparing to other things on the list, I think that they're, obviously something like Dread or Arceus isn't trying to do multiplayer stuff too. So I don't know.
It's
I feel
kind
I'm
of
not
hard to like
conveying
compare 'em.
my thoughts there, but like, well, the substance that is there is great, but it is
Yeah,
ultimately it is just a kart racer. There's nothing for it to be S plus. I feel like it would have to do something like one step
like truly
above.
groundbreaking.
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. No, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, Mario Kart 8, great game.
Yep.
I can't wait for Mario Kart 9. Hopefully, in 2 days when they announce it.
Yeah, it's gonna shadow drop.
Oh my god, dude, it's gonna be so good. Pokemon Scarlet. I did not play Pokemon Scarlet or Pokemon Violet. I watched very little of it. I just know it runs like terribly.
Yep.
Just absolutely terribly.
It's trash.
But yeah, this is more your wheelhouse on this one. So
Yeah, this is one of the ones that I played and did not finish. Partly because of how it ran, partly because I just got the sense of I've been here before, I've done this before. It's fine. I do this thing where I play Pokemon games and I start them and I really enjoy them, and then they just go on a little too long and the grind kind of sets in. And because it is just so simple and there's no tension, like I talked about, I feel like there can be in an Arceus. So it's really just more of the same, except now it also runs terribly. I don't think, I think that it really kind of tries to be more a Sword and Shield, which I played. I think that's the one I played more of. And some of the world I found to be kind of fun in the beginning, but it just didn't keep me. I'd probably put it in C.
Okay.
Partly because of the performance being such a hindrance.
Okay.
I think I would put it above Aces just because I do think there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe in my personal ranking, I would put it above Splatoon 2 just because, like, from a personal enjoyment. But like, I don't think in our list I couldn't really stomach that because I didn't finish it, and I do think it is, if we're trying to be more objective, it's definitely a more flawed game than Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people that I've heard talk about this game, like, they talk about how poor it runs, but a lot of like the like real like diehard Pokemon fans are like, yo, this is some of the most fun that I've had in a Pokemon game in a long time.
well, and I heard that
Because it apparently does switch up a lot of stuff, I guess, in like the combat. I'm not really sure. I'm pretty.
I think the big thing is
uninformed.
It's supposed to be about like the way that you can approach it. Like, it's not like, okay, you have to go to gym 1 and then gym 2 and then gym 3. Like, the zones are kind of level based, so you can kind of decide how you want to go about it. And I remember thinking that was cool, but because it is still level based, like, you still kind of have a path you need to follow. It's just not a straightforward one.
Yeah.
But obviously you can deviate from that if you want to give yourself more of a challenge, or if you end up out leveling something, and if there's one particular one you feel more equipped for at that time based off of your types. So like there is more to it. And I heard the DLC is amazing. Like, you can get like every starter and legendary. If there was one I was ever going to go back to, it would be this one. And honestly, if they give this one a Switch 2 upgrade and it runs better, then I would definitely go back to it.
Yeah, that would convince me to hop in on it.
I think if this gets announced that this is enhanced for Switch 2, I will probably play this year instead of ZA. Like, that would I want to go back and really get into it, because I did. My passion for Pokemon burns bright, but it flutters out, just as fast.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of has to be in waves. And I also think this one was, if I remember correctly, the release was pretty close to Arceus, wasn't it? I think it was the same year.
Yeah, because this was in November, and then
Arceus
came out in like
January. Yeah. So it's like, I was also just at the point where I was like, I was not craving it as much at that point anyway, so I was even more likely to get burned out. So enough time has passed now that, I think the game has a lot of potential, but it is flawed.
Yeah. All right, cool.
It's a weird one, but I specifically was like, we need to include this. I don't even know where I want to put it, but we need to put it somewhere.
Yeah, Ring Fit Adventure.
This is cool. For all of Nintendo's weird, sometimes dumb, gimmicky things that they put out, I really respect Ring Fit. I think it's
I do
a really
too,
novel concept
dude.
that genuinely, I was gonna be like, oh, you're such a wuss. Ring Fit Adventure gives you a workout. Yeah, Ring Fit Adventure gives you a workout. It's a genuine workout. Like, you will
It
sweat
does.
if you go hard on this game. And they have it very customizable where you can decide how much you want to. But it's like, the fact that it has a story is so dumb. I guess you can beat it. I definitely did not. But it's this exercise game where it comes with this sort of rubbery circle that you put your Joy-Cons into, and you use that to facilitate exercise. It also comes with like a leg strap, so sometimes you'll put your Joy-Cons in that and you'll like run in place, and then sometimes you'll use the ring to do like compressions or whatever. And so it just uses those two things to get you to do actual exercises while you're progressing through this RPG that you're boosting your real world stats while you're boosting your in-game stats. Isn't that cool, Andrew?
Yeah. And it's so cool. Like, what really sold me on this game was whenever they're like, yes, this is a turn-based RPG or turn. Yeah, it feels so ridiculous to say a turn-based exercise RPG,
And that's what it is.
like, what kind of wacky stuff are y'all on about right now? And then I picked it up one day, like, because I just wanted to see what it was about, and I had a really good time with it. I was really surprised by the time that I had with it.
Mm-hmm.
I even got Kayla on it for a little bit, and she enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and she stuck with it for a little bit too. I haven't gone back to it since.
I wish I played it more.
Yeah, I mean,
I played it a good. I said I wish I played it more. I played it a good bit during the pandemic, and when I first got it, but that still is only a total of like, I don't know, a week or something. I say a good bit, like a couple days. Like the way you're supposed to do is obviously like daily exercise, like almost a la Animal Crossing. Like, you're supposed to kind of just do exercises like once or twice a day. So it's not one that you can just kind of rush through. But I was not as dedicated as I should have been, much like I am with my real life exercise. But it's a cool concept, and it functions well and I imagine if you did stick with it, it would actually be, quite beneficial.
Yeah, it probably would. That little band, it works, dude. It works.
I'd put it.
Now, placing it for me is like a little difficult.
It's tough. I would put it. I'd put it bottom of B.
Can we say C tier? Bottom of B. Dang.
Okay. If you're gonna put it in C tier, put it between Mario Aces and Scarlet and Violet. That's what I'd say.
That's kind of, that's roundabout where I was thinking. Yeah, I think so. Because I would just feel so weird putting it above the mainline Pokemon game.
If we're talking like what it's going for, like being more successful at what it's going for, Ring Fit Adventure is better at what it aims to do than Scarlet and Violet. But I definitely enjoyed my time with Scarlet and Violet, even if I didn't finish it, probably a little bit more just because I put more time into it. But I respect Ring Fit Adventure a lot more than I respect Scarlet and Violet. So that's kind of why I was putting it there.
That is big facts.
But obviously it is like, it's not a normal game, so it is hard to compare.
Yeah. Here, let's do some rearranging here. I want to save some of the heavy hitters for last, I think.
Howard.
Here, let's do... Here, you stick on some... You played Fire Emblem Three Houses, right?
I did. I did not finish it. This is a tough one, man.
I sense a theme.
I telling you, dude, Nintendo games. This one... when I think of games that I started and didn't finish, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say I think about this game on a semi-regular basis and how much I wish I had, because what I played, I was obsessed with. I really, really, really liked this game. It was my first Fire Emblem game. And for those who don't know, Fire Emblem is more than just 7 slots in a Smash Brothers roster. It's a long-running strategy RPG. And this one's premise was so cool to me, where you go to this academy of comprised of 3 different classes, 3 different groups of students, and you align yourself with one, and you build your team around them, and take them into these grid-based kind of tactical fights. And the big thing in these games is that there's permadeath. So if someone dies during these fights, they don't come back. They're like done. And that was so much more stressful than I'm used to having in like a Nintendo game. And so I was trying to think of the appropriate word here. Very thorough as I was playing through this game to make sure that all my characters were leveled up. I had notes in my phone about every different role of every different character I wanted to be and what I needed to do to level them up to get them there, and what classes they needed to take to make sure that they were going into the right subclass. I was like scheduling out my time, because you can get like a very select few number of people from outside the class you choose, outside of the house, I should say, you choose. If you go with the red house, but you decide there's someone in yellow, because you can interact with all the houses as you go, but your team is composed of whoever is in your house. And so if there was a character on yellow, but I was in red that I really wanted, I had to then allocate what time I was going to spend with them to try and convince them to come over to my side. And the story was super interesting, but I was so thorough about all this. It's like, it was at the time I was in my Persona bag, and it's very Persona-esque, and some of its gameplay setup where you are doing this time where you spend with other characters because you're figuring out who you want to spend social time with, who do you want to level up stat-wise, and you have to kind of make choices based off of what you want to do with your time. And I got to the point where I was so over-leveled because I'd been so meticulous about everything that I was at a point where things were moving very slowly, but it was now so easy because I was so over leveled that I was like, well, why am I spending all of this time and effort to try and make sure that I'm min-maxing everything perfectly, when now it feels like it doesn't matter because I've kind of outgamed the system. And so I lost a little bit of interest there, and then I fell off and I just never went back. Which really...
So what you're telling me is you're just a goated Fire Emblem player.
I'm too good. Like, I was too good. Really, what the game scared me so much. I was taking it so seriously that I kind of burnt myself out, I think. And I think that once I lost that tension of like, oh, I'm worried if I lose someone, then it lost some of that main first appeal I had, which sucks because I think if I had finished it, it would be like an S or an S plus game for me. Like, I really, really enjoyed it, and I was really into it. But and I know, I don't think this is a spoiler because I think they conveyed this in the promo material, but I'll talk around it in case it is. But there's something that happens in the middle that I didn't quite get to. I think I was really close. That I was really, really interested to see how it played out. And so I still think about this game all the time. It is like probably number one on my biggest regrets for games that I didn't finish. And so I really, really respect this game, and I really enjoyed it when I did. But I do think that the balancing was just a little bit of an issue as far as difficulty goes for a game that feels like a lot of the tension is supposed to be based off of anyone can die at any time. So that's my really long spiel about a game that I really, really, I do like, and I wanted to like even more, but I had enough turbulence there that I didn't quite get to see through. So it's hard for me to figure out exactly where it would go. But have you tried this game and you didn't like it? Is that...
all right. I've only ever played one Fire Emblem game, and it was Awakening. On the 3DS, right? The one like Lucina and Chrom and
the one
Robin,
like everyone loves. It's like,
yeah, the one that basically like revived Fire Emblem. It was like if this game did not succeed, like Fire Emblem would just go away because it just doesn't sell. And then it sold extremely well. It literally revived the entire franchise. So I was like, okay, it's done this well. Let me at least give it a shot. I think it's just me and like grid-based like strategy RPGs. We just don't mix for some reason. Because I was really into like the story of that one. But it's something about like the gameplay of it all just didn't sit right with me. This one interested me a little more because there was a little more like you could actually like walk around like areas and stuff. In Awakening, it was like cutscene, battle.
Yeah.
cutscene battle. Like there's no like walking around or like socializing or trying to like min max stats or like anything like that. At least from like what I got from it. I only got like 4 or 5 chapters in, but no, I hear the story in this game is fantastic, and everyone that I know who has played it absolutely loves it. So, yeah, where would you say?
I think it deserves A tier.
Just based on what you think A.
I think I would probably put it in S tier if I'd kept going, but I think I can't because I didn't. So, but I'm looking at B tier. Like it's even from what I played, I think it's objectively a better game than like Jamboree and like Splatoon 2. There's definitely more to it. Yeah, I think it deserves A. Probably deserves more, but bottom of A maybe because of our personal, like combining our thoughts and any sense of objectivity. That's probably where it lands.
Yeah.
See, I did love the combat, and I remember thinking it was really challenging at first. They just gave you the option to do so many extra things, and I was like, I have to do literally everything. And I just burned myself out. I need to go back to it. I need to.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, next up, Pokemon Sword and Shield. I think this is Gen 8.
Yeah, this was the first Switch one, I think. Like the first mainline Switch one.
For Switch. Yeah. Did you play these?
I did. Didn't finish it.
Really?
Yeah.
These are the first Pokemon games that I beat since Gen 3.
Okay, you take the lead then.
Yeah, people talk a lot of trash on these games for some reason.
This was the one where everyone got mad because the
texture of the trees.
Dexit. No, that's yes, also the texture, but like because they found out the entire Pokedex wasn't going to be ported over to the Switch. That's what I remember being the controversy.
Yeah, the lack of like, because I think that it only launched with like 400 something Pokemon, which I say only 400 something.
Just a couple.
Yes. But no, I think this game is really fun. I think the story is a little basic and basically non-existent. But the fact I bought X and Y, I bought Sun and Moon. Like I had played almost all of them, like up to this at least a little bit, and none of them really grabbed me. But this one did. I really enjoyed like the wild area. That was like the big like open world. The first glimpse at like what an open world Pokemon could be like.
Yeah.
When in reality, it was kind of this relatively small little area where you could ride around.
It walked so that Arceus could run. Like, that's what I feel like people were thinking. It was like, oh, it's the first open zones. But like, they were pretty boring. I mean, they were these really big Pokemon that would sometimes be there that like, I don't know. It just wasn't super satisfying in the way that, and so much of when you were navigating the map was still just route to route. With like these only one or two, I think it was only just the one big open zone, right? Or was there two? I can't remember.
Yeah, there was like one big open zone, and then I think like a second part of it opened up.
Yeah,
and then towards the end of the game, like you upgraded like your bike or something to where you could cross over into like one more like little kind of section of it to get more like stronger Pokemon for like endgame stuff. But yeah, it was a relatively small kind of zone. There was like a couple like different biomes within it, but I don't think it was big enough to justify having like 3 or 4 different biomes.
No.
Like you could make it from end to end of that thing in about 5 minutes. So it was like, it was okay.
Maybe it should go higher because of the fact that it was good enough for you to beat it, but I would personally put it below Scarlet and Violet because I at least think Scarlet and Violet was more ambitious, and I think that Sword and Shield was kind of like, what made it ambitious was just the fact it was the first Pokemon on Switch, but it didn't really do that much new outside of that and the Wild Zone, which I found underwhelming.
I was about to say, and it did like it did the Dynamax thing and brought in like raid battles and stuff. Which...
Yeah, that actually puts it down in D tier now that you reminded me about that. I hated that stuff, dude. That was
really,
dude. It was so bad. Did you like it?
I didn't mind it like with friends,
dude. I despised it. It was the grindiest, like worst online. You want to talk about how bad the Switch Online can be, dude? Like trying to find a connection to get everyone to get in there and do that at the same time and pray that everyone has the right Pokemon types and knows how to read so they can figure out what they're actually supposed to be attacking. It was so mind numbing, just spamming the same moves over and over again. Yeah, that was terrible. I forgot that was in that game. Yeah, that's definitely below Scarlet and Violet, even as bad as that game runs, in my opinion. I would maybe put Ring Fit above that game now that I remember.
Dang.
I hated those
All
things.
right, dude. I don't know about that. I'll put it below Scarlet and Violet just because I haven't played Scarlet and Violet. But I mean, this is the one.
It did run a little better. Like it did run better than Scarlet and Violet, but like
it ran so much better.
And
this is the first Pokemon game that like I played, and I was like, I kind of think I want to try out like competitive Pokemon. So I kind of was on like a competitive Pokemon grind for a little bit. I'm like consumed so much content and like really tried to like get into the scene. Like I was making my own like teams and renting teams from other people in like the battle tower and like all this like crazy stuff. It got a lot of playtime out of me. I really did enjoy my time in this game, but yeah, it's got some issues. I also heard the DLC was really good. I think the first DLC was okay, and then the second DLC like brought it back a little bit.
It's crazy that all these Pokemon games have DLC, and I have not touched either of them.
And I just couldn't care less.
Yeah, it's just kind of insane. I would love to know how well they sold, if they were like profitable for them. When you think about how much.
Oh, I'm sure. Oh, they sold so many.
I mean, they must.
I would guarantee it.
I don't know. I've never heard anyone talk about them. I don't know.
Really?
The DLC specifically.
Any of the crazy Pokemon people that I know, like they grind the DLC. I still have some people who are still playing Sword and Shield like to this day.
That's insane, bro.
It's wild, dude.
Not even Scarlet and Violet. They said Sword and Shield. I'll stick with the old. I don't need that new.
Some of my friends on my friend list literally have like 800 hours on Sword and Shield or like something crazy. Like I will never understand it. I like Pokemon, but I don't know about all that.
Just built different,
I guess so. So that goes in the C tier below Scarlet, between Scarlet and Ring Fit Adventure.
Yeah.
Next, Pikmin 4. I don't know if you played Pikmin 4 or not.
I'm not, no.
Okay, oh, I definitely thought you were going to tell me that you started it but didn't finish it.
Nope, didn't even touch this one, so I don't have to hurt you.
I'm a massive Pikmin fan. Pikmin 3 is probably my favorite Wii U game. And this game just like upped it a little bit for me. It added so much more cool stuff. The idea of Pikmin is already just such like a silly, goofy thing to me. Like these little like sprout men just like following a astronaut with a whistle, and you go fight, you know, all these crazy like weird little bugs and go underground and do all this crazy like weird stuff. It's a weirdo game.
This is such a basic question, but it's like a puzzle platformer, right? Is that the best way to describe it?
It's more of like or
is there no platforming?
It's more of like a strategy game.
Okay.
Strategy, like time management kind of game. Because it changes a little bit in this game, where in previous Pikmin games, I haven't played Pikmin 1 or 2, but I played a lot of 3. You only have a certain let me figure out a way to explain Pikmin that actually makes sense. It's not easy. You only have a certain amount of time to finish the game. The game is on like a day cycle.
Right.
Like you can only go out and do things, and the goal of the game is basically to collect items to fuel your ship, or, you know, for you and your crew to be able to eat at night, or like something similar to that across most of these games. But you can only go out during the day, because at night all of the monsters turn crazy and will just absolutely murder you. So normally we'll pack up, go into your spaceship at night, and go out of orbit, and then come back in towards the end of the day, or towards the beginning of the next day. So most of the time in these Pikmin games, you only have a certain amount of days, and if you don't beat it, you know, before your time limit is up, I don't really know what happens. I don't know if you just get like a game over and have to start over or what, but it's a little bit time management-y in that aspect. I don't like Pikmin 4 as much as Pikmin 3. Because it kind of gets rid of that aspect. You have just unlimited days.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets rid of like the stress factor of like, oh God, I have to like get all of this done. And it also kind of goes against like the big thing of Pikmin, which is like you can't be on the ground at night because there's a whole mode where you can just go back to the planet at night, like go fight stuff, and I don't mind it, but it does a lot of good, and it does some things that I wasn't like a big fan of. A lot of people will tell you that this is probably the best Pikmin game, though.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard some people say that. They had Ochi, the little dog.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember seeing that from the trailer.
Almost
Ochi
sold me on it.
So cool. Really?
He's pretty cute.
He changes like the whole dynamic of the game. Because you can ride him, you can like ride him across. You can ride him across water. You can charge up an attack, and he'll like load all of the Pikmin up onto his back, and then he will charge at an enemy. And whenever he hits the enemy, all of the Pikmin will just fly off of him and go onto an enemy and attack them in like full force and like stuff like that. Like really cool stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. I could go on about Pikmin for a good bit, because I truthfully do love Pikmin 3 so much. It's one of my favorite games of all time. And then getting to Pikmin 4, I'm gonna sound like a Chris. I started it. I didn't finish it.
Okay, for the record, it's only Nintendo games this happens, all right? I don't want this to become my new thing, all right? I finish almost every game I play. In fact, it's a fault of mine where I play through games, like last year I played through Black Myth Wukong, and by the end of it, I was like, I hate this game, and I just spent 40 hours on it. I regularly think about the things I could have spent my time doing instead of playing that game, but some sick part of my brain was like, you gotta finish it. It's only Nintendo games where I'm like, all right, I'm out. Anyway.
Oh, the other part of this game. Sorry, dude. I literally just remembered. This is like a big part of it. They added like a whole nother mode to this game where I think it's called like Dandori, and you can battle another player, and basically like who can manage their time the best with like
it's like
what troops they have.
That's crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's like they put you both on like essentially like a battlefield, and whoever can collect the most stuff in the time frame like wins the battle or whatever. And spoilers, a lot of the game you fight Olimar. You don't play as Olimar in this game. You like make your own character. But Olimar has been like he's kind of crazy with it. I mean, I would hope so after, many years in games of throwing Pikmin at big bugs. But yeah, for me, I know I didn't finish it, but I do think that it's still like an A-tier game.
I think it's A-tier. You're saying there's things you don't like about it, and you didn't finish it.
There are things that I don't like about it as much as Pikmin 3. Because, dude, if we're talking like Pikmin 3, like Pikmin 3 is like S-tier for me. So I feel very confident putting it in A-tier.
Okay.
Like not quite where Pikmin 3 is, but it's still really, really good. And Chris, I highly recommend you try it. I really do think that you would like this game a lot.
I think I would like them. Have you heard of the indie game Tinykin?
Yes.
I adored that game. It was in my top 10 the year I played it. And I know, so that's why I thought it was like puzzle platformer, because people were comparing that game a lot to Pikmin, where you go to you're like this little guy inside a house, which is like one of my favorite genres, like little person inside a big house. It's always fun to explore those.
Play some Chibi Robo or something.
Exactly. But you go to the different rooms in the houses, and you collect as you go the different colored little creatures that help you navigate different platforming puzzles. And if it's anything like that, which people compared it to, I love that game, and I've always liked the quirkiness of Pikmin, so I think I would like it. It's just I've never fully understood what it was, honestly, and so that's kind of why I never took the plunge. But I know they are well liked, so
yeah. It truly is a fantastic game, and I would love to get like a group together to run like a Pikmin 4 tournament. Dude, that would be so sick,
That's
dude.
insane.
Everybody's
Those are
doing like
insane
the
words.
little
A Pikmin
the
4
little
tournament.
Dandori battle.
No one has ever said those words in that order before this. Oh man.
But yeah, I feel pretty good.
Bottom of
A
A.
tier
Okay.
on that one. Did you play Luigi's Mansion 3?
No, I played 2.
Okay. I started Luigi's Mansion 3. I did not finish it.
Oh, wow, Chris. What's wrong? Why didn't you love it? Why didn't you finish it and 100% it?
I'm such a fake Nintendo fan.
I heard it was okay.
It's still really good.
Is it really good? Okay, good.
Yeah, no, it's still great. I've had some people tell me that this is like the best like multiplayer experience like on the Switch.
Yeah, Luigi is like a pretty funny concept because there was this the one where they added like the battle tower in it where you had to like try and what was it, a race where you were trying to finish before other people, or how did that work?
It was something like that. I don't exactly remember. Oh, wait. We must pause on Luigi's Mansion 3. We have a guest appearance.
Whoa!
To talk about a game that neither one of us have played.
Let's bring in an expert for this one.
Everyone, please welcome to the pod my wonderful girlfriend, Kayla. Why are you standing all the way? She's like standing in front of the door. Come on over, weirdo. What's wrong with you?
In front of the door because I didn't know what was going on.
There you go.
What's up, gamers?
What up, gamer? Fellow gamer? Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the Teardrop Pod, our first official guest.
Great.
Hello, Chris.
Hello. Welcome in, gaming expert, our consultant for this episode.
I would nay call myself an expert. I do know Brothership, though. I have played some of that.
Tell me all about it.
So, Brothership, it's similar to Superstar Saga. Brothership is basically you're trying to connect all of these islands, and they got blown apart by the big bad, and you're trying to light up all of these light bulbs to bring the worlds back together, so to speak.
Right.
So I would say the only thing that I don't really like about this game is that with Superstar Saga, it's whenever you're Luigi, it's BBB through the menus, like all the way through. Mario's AAA. But with this one, they switched it up so the mechanics are a little bit weird and you have to click B, but then you click A through the menus. And it's like, okay, then why even click B?
And you can't change that?
No.
That's crazy. That's such a Nintendo thing to do. It's like every other game lets you remap your controls now, but not them.
Nope, not this one. But the storyline is really cute. It's a good game. With some of these other ones, I don't know. I see that Smash is S+.
Yep. It gets its own special tier for now. I'm sure we'll be soon debating what else joins it, but
so with the way things are right now, I would say like it's a good game, it's a cute game, it's a solid game. So I would probably put it at the end of B tier.
Okay. So below Splatoon 2, but above Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
So like right there. That's where I would put it.
Okay. Well, I know very little about these games, but I trust your judgment, and we'll let it lie.
Hopefully it stays around the same place, but I know you guys still got quite a few.
We got a couple to go through, but we'll the good news is since neither of us have played it, it'd be really hard for us to be like, we can just bump that one down because neither of us have an argument for or against it. So it's probably safe. True. But only one way to know is tune in to the final 5 minutes to find out. Well, thank you so much for hopping on and sharing your valuable opinion.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody give it up for Kayla. He said thanks.
I'm sure the clapping is going through Discord, but there's clapping. I promise.
Where did she put this?
Put him at bottom of B,
No.
above Scarlet and Violet. I was like, oh, all right. I told her, I was like, well, neither of us have played it, so it'd be really hard to have an argument for or against it. Probably safe.
I told her that I would trust her expert opinion on that one. We'll see. we might move it around just based on what I've heard from others. Even though we don't base it off of others' opinions, of course.
I was gonna say,
but
I know that game did not review very well, but I wasn't gonna tell her opinion was invalid. She's the one on the podcast, not any of those other reviewers. So
yeah. But yeah, sorry.
I will say that game looked really promising. Like the visuals of it, I thought were really cool.
The first trailer for that game blew me away.
Yeah.
Like I was going absolutely nuts because it looked so pretty, and like all of the cool new moves that they have. Mario literally has like a Mario Strikers like style move where he like super ultra kicks a shell at like an enemy or something. Like it looks so promising, and then all the reviews came out, and that's the only thing that deterred me from buying it. Because whenever I saw that first trailer, this was a day one buy for me.
Yeah. And
then the previews and the reviews came out. It's like, oh, man, what a like massive bummer.
Yeah.
But
clearly, it works for some people. So
yeah, some people really like it. Superstar Saga is one of like her favorite games of all time too. So yeah, that about adds up. That's where I thought she would probably put it.
You know her well.
But Luigi's Mansion 3, yeah, I think this game is super fun. A lot of like the puzzly stuff is really good. I'm not gonna lie to you, I really don't remember a lot about it. It's been a long time since it came out. I think I played this game probably 4 years ago. Yeah, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It's really hard because so many people have told me that like this is like possibly like the pinnacle of Luigi's Mansion.
But I want to know what you think, Andrew, not what those other guys
I know,
think.
man. Like, I played Luigi's Mansion 2, and I didn't really like it because Luigi's Mansion 2 is like, it's almost like mission based.
Yeah.
And it's not fun at all.
Wow. I did beat that one.
Yeah.
I beat that one on the 3DS.
Did you really?
Yeah. I won't say I didn't like it. I thought it was good, but like it was also like, this is the game everyone's been gassing up because everyone loves the first Luigi's Mansion. I was like,
yeah, the first one is amazing. I mean, the first one is basically like a Resident Evil game almost. Like it's very like, go get this shaped key that goes to this door over here, and then it'll let you get this thing to go over here, and then like all this like crazy cool stuff. But for me, like, I would probably put this is probably of what I played of it, this is probably like a B tier game. It does drop like the mission based system that 2 had, and it's still kind of level based, but every level is like a different floor of like, because I think this one's like a hotel that you're going through. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
or maybe that,
no, I think
maybe that's Luigi's Mansion 2.
No. 2 is the one where you go to all the different mansions.
That's right. You go to different mansions. Yeah. So this one's a hotel, and then like every floor is like a different level, and there's like I think there's kind of like a different gimmick on every floor, or a different mechanic or something like that. There was a lot of really cool ideas. I don't remember why I didn't stick with it. I think another game came out and I just hopped off of it, but it's one that I've always really wanted to go back to. But I'm gonna go ahead and put it above Brothership real quick, and honestly above Splatoon 2, and honestly at the top of
you just said I didn't beat it, I don't remember much, but let me go ahead and put it in the top 50% of this list.
I'll put it below Mario Maker 2. I definitely like it better than Splatoon 2 for sure. Okay. Is it better than Mario Party Jamboree? Like, I don't know, man.
I would say Jamboree should go above it, if nothing else, just because we both played it and we both like it. And yeah, it's like, it sounds like you like it, but like, you know, love it.
No, I know what you mean. I loved my time with it. And if I had stuck with it, I feel like it would be a lot higher up. It's kind of like the Three Houses thing, where like if I had stuck with it and it like kind of stuck in my brain a little bit better, I feel like it would be bumped up maybe even into like the A tier.
Yeah.
But just from what I have experienced from it, yeah, I think middle of B is probably about right.
Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land. You might have played more of this game than I have.
I got like halfway through it, I think.
Okay, yeah, I also got about halfway through it.
Not the last times you'll hear me say this phrase tonight, but I think this game's overrated, if I'm being honest.
What?
I enjoyed my time with it fine, but like it's the classic Kirby thing where it's just so easy that it kind of doesn't engage me as much as like a Mario. Not that a Mario is like the hardest thing ever, but like there's more. It doesn't have the depth of a Mario. It doesn't have the like skill cap of some of the stuff in Astrobot. Not that Astrobot's a hard game either, but like if you want to do the bonus levels and things like that, at least I don't think it has the depth of an Astrobot either. In fact, it reminds me a lot of Astrobot with the like the level structure and things like that, where there is creative things about it, but you kind of end up repeating some of the abilities, and I don't find them to be as endearing as like some of those, or even like the Mario Odyssey transformation. I'm comparing those two things because Odyssey is also right in front of my face on this list, and then Astrobot being the most recent really outstanding 3D platformer I played. I think it's good, but people were saying it's like one of the best platformers ever, and I know I've heard the ending is awesome and it's like super crazy and cool, but the boss fights I did do, like there's that one, was it a giant monkey or whatever, or
yeah, Gory Mondo. I don't know why I remember it. Well,
that's
I only remember his
poll. Oh, you mean my best friend, Gory Mondo?
This game only has such a special place in my heart. It's the first YouTube video that I ever made.
Oh, I do remember that.
From a stream of me playing this game. And so I do. I specifically remember that boss fight because the gorilla literally has like Donkey Kong upbeat from Smash. He like just like extends his arms and just like spins around.
Yeah,
like
it's definitely not a bad game. I'm not saying that. I just don't.
Yeah.
As far as 3D platformers go, it's not in that top echelon, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Like as far as like 3D platformers go, it's not too terribly interesting. As far as Kirby games go, I think that this is the best Kirby game to come out since like, I don't know, Kirby 64.
How high is that bar?
This is a little high, bro. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty.
The only other Kirby game I played was like one time at my friend's house, the Kirby Air Rider. I don't know.
Oh, dude, Kirby Air Ride is sick.
That one's pretty fun.
I get roasted all the time for never playing that game.
It's pretty fun for the 5 minutes I played it at a friend's house. I don't know. I would put it like top of B.
Yeah. That's about where I was thinking. Yeah, because I definitely don't like it better than Pikmin 4. Yeah, top of B sounds good. Next up, Super Mario Odyssey. This is one of my favorite games of all time.
That's rough, dude. I was thinking D, like top of D.
No, God, don't do that to me.
Yeah, no, this is S plus.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. I'm glad that we're there.
I am a Galaxy over Odyssey guy myself, personally, respectfully, really? But Odyssey is still the best, like, single player game on the Switch, bar none, for sure. I mean, it's still a fantastic 3D platformer. Runs super well, looks great for a Switch game. The worlds are super fun. Level design is awesome. New Donk City is great. Little like quest you can do as you go for, like the jump rope thing there, and the secret doors you go into this other areas. It's like there's just fun little touches there. The last world, like the homage world, if you will, it's really cool to see.
Oh yeah, the go to the moon and like feeling like the zero gravity and like
that thing.
All that's cool. Dude, it's so cool. Like there's so many like cool ideas in this game.
The only
like the general movement of it is like so good. Like throwing the cap and diving onto the cap and using that to get like a little extra distance or a little extra height or like something like that. Like the amount of like technical skill that this game needs for like speedrunners and stuff, it's maybe I'm talking out of my butt, maybe just a little bit, because I don't really know how other Marios are in like the speedrunning sphere, but I'm really big into the speedrunning space. But this is like one of the most fun games to watch speedrun, because it's just constant. Like you're going from this point to this point to this point, like as fast as you possibly can, like, and just how you go about it and how smooth and fluid it all looks and feels. It's like, oh my god,
Sorry,
the dogs are going crazy in the background.
Lost their mind. Sorry, it's like visually jump. I don't visibly jump. I don't know. But their barks came through, but they were loud.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the idea of like Cappy, you know, your hat, being able to just take over just about any object that it hits, and you get, you know, all of these new abilities and kind of power. Like I remember the first time that you take over like the frog, like in like the hat world, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah,
or like the T-Rex. It's like all of these like
so
crazy
cool
things.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic.
Like,
it's literally the game that I bought a Switch for, and I still think it's the best game on the Switch, like I said. So easy S plus. I mean, the question, I guess, is this or Smash?
I think it's better than Smash. Is Smash more ambitious and crazy and have maybe a little more going on? Yeah. But I think that this is the best feeling 3D platformer I've ever played in my life. And that's like really hard to do. I've played some really good 3D platformers, mainly by Mr. Nintendo.
Don't forget my boy Astro.
That, I mean, the game feels good.
It's
but
fantastic.
It, you know, it feels great, but it's a little.
Careful.
I'm gonna be careful. Here.
You don't want to fire me up already, bro. You're not even.
I love Astrobot. Please do not get me wrong. It's one of the best games released in many, many years. It for a 3D platformer, it's like a little basic.
That's crazy. It's refined, I think is the word you're looking for.
It doesn't have a long jump. It doesn't have a little dive. You run and you jump.
All the depth comes from the abilities that you get.
Spin your little arms.
It's accessible,
but
it has depth. Bro, you got to go and play those extra speed run levels they added. All right, you want to get? Tell me it's too simple. All right,
maybe.
Anyway, that's not what we're debating here. God, can you imagine if we did a platformer tier list? Dear Lord, we would be at each other's throats. That would be so hard, because I do love them all, and so it would be difficult for me anyway. But then you'd say something like that, and then I'd really have to. Anyway, I would put Smash above it, because Smash is a game I have much more love for personally, because of the Sora thing, because of all the fun I've had playing it with other people. I've spent way more time with Smash than I did with Mario Odyssey overall. I just have much more affinity for it. You know, which is a better game is hard to say. They're both incredibly polished and fantastic at what they go for.
It's
tough.
It's kind of hard. I mean, the thing, like, I have such a soft spot for both of these games that like one could be over the other, and I don't think that I would be mad either way. Mad or happy either. Like I'm fine where it's at now. If Mario was above Smash, I would be happy. If it was the other way, you know, I don't think it really matters to me. So
yeah.
I think it more comes down to if you're feeling Smash over Mario, then I'm perfectly fine with that.
They are really close, and if
they're I do think they're extremely close.
Yeah. I lean just barely more towards Smash, I think personally, but
okay,
that's just me. So
yeah, no, dude, that's totally fair. Next up, I know that we weren't talking about. We kind of did this with Mario Kart 8. But
This man, this
Um,
Nintendo shill can't help himself. He said, I gotta
can't
put these
help it.
ports I love so much.
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. It's a remaster kind of remake.
Did they add anything for the Switch version, or is it literally just a port
Yes.
of the 3DS version? Okay.
Yes, they added like an entire like what would be like Xenoblade 2 and 3 like have their own like big like DLC expansion. They gave that to Xenoblade 1 in
Okay.
this. So it does come with new stuff. All of the character models are updated, and the game just in general looks so much better. So, and the only reason that I put it here is because I don't think that I would have ever played this game had they not made this remake. I'll call it a remakester. Because the Wii version is it's maybe the most butt ugly game I've ever seen in my life. It looks so bad. Like the character models themselves look terrible.
Yep.
Mainly like the faces. Everything. All of the characters like heads are like polygonal, and they just like slap a texture over their face like to make it look like a face.
It's like Kingdom Hearts 2. Or Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts,
a
like Kingdom Hearts
little
1,
bit,
I
yeah.
guess. I mean, the PS2 Kingdom Hearts games are the same.
And somehow looks worse. But I will give that game, I mean, at least the Wii version, it stars where, I mean, the world is massive. I mean, you go into some of the biggest open zones I've seen in a JRPG like ever. Like they're so big. But yeah, I mean, this is probably the best story I've ever experienced in a video game in Xenoblade 1.
That is just such a bold thing to say. That is
I know.
that's kind
I
of
know
crazy.
it's really bold. Coming from like a Kingdom Hearts dude who's played 11 Kingdom Hearts games worth of story. I have my ups and downs with Kingdom Hearts.
Well, sure. Yeah.
And coming from,
I know how you feel. I was gonna say, I know how you feel about 7, FS7.
7, yeah, it's tough to like kind of pit them against each other.
And you're a new
But whenever I really think about
so
I don't think those games stand up to the story of any of the games that I just listed. I think they're really good.
insane, bro. Insane.
But yeah, I mean, based on the story alone, like it's my second favorite game of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
You know, like I have to put it in the S+ tier.
It's not weird, but it's just the fact it's a port. And that I don't really have anything I can say about it because I've only played it for like 5 hours and it didn't super click with me. But I think it was just the way combat works in this game is unique, and I appreciate that about it. But it's like you basically just go. It's basically auto attacks with you kind of just doing stuff on cooldown. Is that the best way to describe it, you think?
Yeah, it's almost like MMO like style combat.
Yeah.
Where you're constantly auto attacking, everything's on cooldown. You do have a chain attack, which is basically like where you get all of your big damage from. You kind of every attack has like a different category it's in, and if you use attacks that are all kind of in the same category, then like the damage multiplier goes up and up and up, and then you can get these like crazy massive numbers. And there's still like a technical side to it, in like some of like the later game stuff. The combat is definitely not my favorite thing about this game. The combat took a long time to click for me. And by the end of the game, it did click for sure. I think that it of the Xenoblade games, it probably has the weakest combat. But I think the story is just so far and beyond like some of the craziest stuff I've ever experienced in a game that there's no way to like talk me down from it. Like I'm so in love with all of the characters, and I think the world is so cool and so creative. And I mean the amount of like moments that happen in this game that just make me go like, whoa, like what in the world is like happening? Like constant shock factor, like in the music, dude. It
Music
is
is good.
also up there with like one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Ever since I beat it, like weekly, I listen to this soundtrack.
They haven't added that to the
It's
Nintendo Music app yet, have they? I don't think they have.
I don't think they have.
Whack.
I don't think they have.
Whack.
Super whack. God, they need to do something with that thing. I know they keep adding stuff onto it, but it's like
They put the
you
Arceus
give me, like,
soundtrack
a
on it,
game-
dude. I was jamming to that for a while. That and the all the KK Slider songs are on there. I was like, this is worth my subscription in and of itself.
Ooh. That's so sick.
So no, I appreciate how much you love this game. That's something we talked about when you and I first started talking about games, and I know you've been trying to get me to play it for a long time, and maybe one day I'll surprise you and I'll just say, all right, Andrew, I beat it, and then either join your club or devastate you, one or the other. But I did try it. I played about 5 hours. I got like right to the point where you get, there's the whole time bending mechanic that's like pretty big in the core premise of things, and I didn't really get to delve into
that's
that. But
that's like the one cool thing of the combat is Shulk gets this thing called oh no, I forgot what it's called. Is it called Foresight?
I just know it's
No,
the power
Foresight.
of Monado.
Yeah. I forget what it's called. I'm pretty sure that Foresight is what Mithra has in Xenoblade 2. But yeah, they're basically Shulk can see the future. He can see visions of the future. Oh yeah, they're just called visions. And he can see what's going to happen, in the next 10 seconds in combat, whether or not one of your party members is like going to die. So it gives you a vision of that, and then it gives you time to be able to work around what you know is about to happen,
Which is really cool. That's a really cool mechanic.
So freaking cool, man.
Yeah, that is really cool.
Oh.
I don't know. It's not like I got to that part and I was like, oh, this sucks. Now I'm quitting. It was more just like I just happened to get there and then I was already kind of burnt out a little bit. But
Yeah.
I'm traveling some this year. Maybe this will be the year I finally give it another shot. We'll see.
Chris, I'm telling you, brother, if anything, stay for the story. I don't care if you hate the combat. If you even just sat down and like watched a video of all of the cutscenes, I would be happy.
Here's my only reservation, right? Is I did get to one really big moment at the beginning that you and I talked about a little bit that you said like really, really impacted you, and it didn't really do anything for me. And so that's also part of my concern. I was like, what if it doesn't? What if it just doesn't hit me? I don't know why. But that's obviously only one moment, and like, what? This is a 100-hour game or something like that. I know they're all really long.
I think this is surprisingly the shortest one. This one I think only took me about 70.
Oh, only 70. That's fine.
Only 70, yeah. Only.
Bro, I could play 3 Yakuza games in that time. Come on. I gotta get my priorities straight here. No, I think about it every now and then, and I do want to give it another shot, just for you. So one day, not just for you, because it's obviously a very well regarded. I've not heard great things about 2, but 1 and 3, especially the DLC for 3, I know is really, really highly lauded. So
yeah, and we can get to 2. 2, yeah, it's 2 for me is the worst of the 3. For some people, like this is like the best game on the Switch. Like, just love this game.
Now, this one was originally a Switch game, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. This was within the first year of the Switch. This was shown at like the initial like Switch press conference, when the Switch was like revealed with like Mario Odyssey and like all those games, and I think that it's kind of the opposite of Xenoblade 1, where I think that this game has the best combat of the 3 games, but I think it has the worst story of the 3 games. And story is like a pretty large like driving factor for me in a lot of JRPGs. I don't like a lot of the systems in the game. So like how it kind of works is like, Pyra and Mithra as characters from Smash. They're what are called blades. You have blades and drivers. Drivers are like, have you seen Rex?
Yep.
You know what Rex looks like, the little corny looking dude? He's a driver. Pyra and Mithra is his blade, and he controls what the blades do. It's a really like weird kind of roundabout way to make a game like this. But Yeah, the way that you get more blades is like it's kind of like a gotcha game where like you get these like core crystals and you open them up and then you have like a luck percentage based chance to get a really really good blade or a really bad blade, and it's like it's so tedious and just
That sounds awful.
There's like 50 of them.
That sounds really not fun.
Yeah, it's super not fun. That's like the biggest part of the game that I really really dislike. But a lot of the characters they're still really really good. And the story is still fine. Like I don't think that it's a bad story by any means. It's just of the three, it's my least favorite of them. I would still put it in the A tier. Just based off, I mean, the combat alone, and I still really do like a lot of things about the game. I would honestly put it above Pikmin 4.
Okay.
And then Xenoblade 3 is, I would say, is the second best game in the series. It brings together a lot of things from Xenoblade 1 and from Xenoblade 2. The combat is a little bit easier to grasp than the previous two games. Because I say the combat in Xenoblade 2 is the best combat, but it's the hardest combat. Like it throws so much stuff at you, like in the UI and stuff. The UI is so ugly, dude. It's like so cluttered. There's stuff just popping up constantly. You can barely see the characters on the screen. At
exactly
any
what you want
given
on a
point.
Switch handheld game.
Yeah.
I'm sure that looks fantastic.
Yeah. But Xenoblade 3 has maybe one of my favorite moments in recent memory in like any game that I've played. It hits this crazy high peak of storytelling that I just don't see very often, that I hadn't seen since I played Xenoblade 1. Yeah, it's a really fun game, and the DLC, oh my god, it's one of the best DLCs I've ever played in my life, dude. Oh, I want you to play this game so bad, Chris. I know I'd say it every time I bring them up,
Bro, it's like a
but I so
300-hour
badly want you to play these games.
It's like I gotta watch One Piece, bro.
The DLC alone, I think, is like an S tier, but the DLC plus the game is like, it's just chef's kiss. It is so beautiful. I'm putting it above Mario Kart. Honestly, I would put it at the top, but I know I don't want to push it too far, because this is also, I mean, this is Xenoblade 3 is probably my top 10 games of all time.
Yeah,
It's, oh god, it's so good, man.
that's tough. I mean, if you feel that strongly about it, I mean, you can put it at the top of S, because I do really like Arceus and Dread, but like I wouldn't put either of them in like my top 10 favorite games of all time. So I mean,
yeah, I really do think it belongs up there. I think that it's just like a masterclass in like storytelling. All right, enough about Xenoblade. How are you feeling about Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening?
played it, didn't finish it.
God damn it! It's so short. It's so short.
It is, but it's not a very fun game to navigate. It is.
What?
I found it very. I mean, it's old school, and that it really is a little obtuse, and I think some of the level design. And I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to look this up, but I didn't know what to do next, and so I got kind of tired. I just quit. It also just doesn't run very well. And as far as like 2D Zeldas go, I really, really enjoy them for the most part, but I don't know. This one, it didn't grab me. Is not among my favorites, but what do you think?
I think that as far as like 2D Zeldas go, like this is like pretty up there for me. I really, really enjoyed my time with this game. Some of the dungeons are a little bit tedious. I remember there was one dungeon in particular that like I just could not wrap my mind around, and it was so like, it was pretty annoying to like try and navigate and do all this stuff. That's the one part of the entire game that like really stuck with me. I only just beat this game last year.
Oh wow. Yeah.
But I still think that it's really solid, and it still feels really good, and the performance of it is the other thing that kind of brings it down for me. Lots of frame drops.
Yep.
Lots of frame drops. Walking through like an area with like tons of grass, like you get down to like 20 frames sometimes. Like, it looks bad sometimes, but the general like art style of the game I think really carries it.
The art style
pretty
is great.
far.
I mean, that's why I got it, because I was like, I really like the way this looks, and I like 2D Zeldas generally, but just didn't. I'd put it in C, personally.
Man.
But
dang. Yeah, I mean, sorry, brothership above it is throwing me off so bad. I feel like this is like the gatekeeper.
Yeah,
like
truly the middleman. I mean, we're almost symmetrical, because that's like directly in the middle. That's so funny.
Yeah, yeah.
Except there's like an extra here on the top, so I guess it's not. But
I guess I can live with top of C. I'm not like mad about it. I'm not like super passionate about this game or anything.
I was gonna say, what do you think about it would bring it up? Like, do you think it should be up higher than that?
I mean, I do think that it's on the same level. No, actually, no. I don't think it's on the same level as some of these.
Yeah.
No, I actually think you got it spot on. I do think it is above the Pokemon games in the C tier, though. I think it's at like the top of the C tier.
Okay. That's fine.
That's fine. You can live with that.
I can live with that. I'm saving. I'm giving you a lot of leeway, buddy, because there's a storm coming. All right. And we're here. We can't run from it anymore. Unless you want to put Animal Crossing first, and then let's
do Animal Crossing.
Dear
let's do Animal
Lord.
Crossing. I have to collect myself for what is about doing Sue.
Okay. I think I might surprise
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I rolled credits on this game.
Oh no. Two kinds of people.
I did roll credit. I mean, no, that's not really when you beat Animal Crossing to most people. But I did. I technically did. It's not my type of game. We kind of talked about this on the co-op one with like the Stardew and Minecraft stuff, which Mary thought it was so funny. She's like, I can't believe neither of you like Minecraft. I was like, I think it's great. I found someone else, like the only person on the planet, yeah, who feels the same way I do. It's just, it does kind of fall into that genre, but of those games like it, it's definitely the one I put the most time into. I think it's got some charm to it. I think the community aspect of it, when it was at its peak during the pandemic, was unlike anything else kind of like it.
Dude, it was crazy.
Yeah.
People like literally selling their stuff on their island, like online for real life money.
It was insane. And people just being so friendly and passionate about it, and like talking to friends who are not gamers who got super into it. And they had like I remember one of them had one of the little amiibo cards, not cards, but like the little icons that they gave me for a villager that we talked about, that they described me as like, oh, he's so cool, I wish he'd come to my town. And so they gave me the amiibo things so that I could get him and stuff like that. There is a real sense of community to it like that, which I appreciated. I never got as super into it as a lot of people, but I really respect it, and I have seen my wife get absolutely obsessed with it. I know how much you can do with it, and some of the fun parts of it that if you really do want to dive into it, you know, the neighbor aspect of it and trying to pick and choose who you want to be on your island, I think is really fun. So I do like it. I think it's good. I know that hardcore Animal Crossing people, it's not typically their favorite, but I'm not really that audience. So for me, I'd probably put it at bottom A, top of B, but I know you just said you didn't like this game, so let's hear your thoughts.
My main thing is like, I played a lot of New Leaf on the 3DS, and I love New Leaf. And I don't really think that it's like, I don't think it's debated that like New Leaf is the best Animal Crossing game. I'm pretty sure that that's like pretty widely accepted. So going from New Leaf, which I loved, to this game, like I bought this like launch night. I bought it at midnight. Like I'm in there. I'm so excited, and I can't put my finger on what it was about it, but it just did not hit the same for me. I don't know if it was. I think, and I really hate it that I'm about to say this because this is going to come back up again in the games that we're going to talk about next. But the tool breaking aspect of it, I think it's so monotonous.
Oh, is that not a fun mechanic in games? Oh, that's interesting.
So in this specific type of game, I think it's so unnecessary and so not fun that it literally ruined the entire game for me.
Interesting.
So but I do think that it's a really good game still. Like I know from an outside perspective, just looking at the game, I know that it's a good game. And just like the impact that it had, I could put it in, in at least the B tier based on the impact that it had alone during like the pandemic. Like it took over the world. It's the second best selling Switch game.
Yeah.
Like that's insane to me for an Animal Crossing game. I did not think that it would blow up the way that it did. I could put it at like the top of B. I could feel okay with that.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I definitely spent more time with it than
right?
Kirby. Yeah. It's not like my favorite game of all time or anything like that, but I respect it, and I enjoyed the time I did spend with it, and I do think it is cool, like what I was able to do with it, with sharing an island with Mare, or like talking to friends about it and sharing crops, or like sharing villager amiibo, stuff like that. And so those things make an impact for me. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I still think that it's a great game. It's just not quite for me. I hope that the next one kind of does something a little cooler, I guess. I don't really know what else could possibly be done in Animal Crossing to make it any more enjoyable for me.
I think that could be part of the problem. It's like, what do you do next? Like, do you just make it more simmy? Do you add more sim aspects to it, to where there's like a full, rather than like an island, you get like a full city or something, and you are like building more than just your house, or having more impact on your neighbors? I don't know. But
because I forgot there was like the whole like terraforming thing too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like once you get to like the end game, just being able to like craft your island to like make it look however you want.
Yeah,
I think
pretty
that's
easy
really
to see what people who were really hardcore did with it. It's kind of nuts.
Oh yeah, Kayla was crazy on that game. I think Kayla's played that game for probably 300 hours. Maybe 400. She's played a ton of it.
I'm sure Mare is right up there. It's like, I literally gave her my old Switch when I got my OLED just so she could play that and Stardew, and she has played a lot of both of those games. So
she's played nothing but those since she bought you.
I felt kind of bad because when I first got it, I was like, because when you make the account, whoever is like the owner, I guess, is the one who owns the island. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh well, since I guess it's, I was doing it first as my Switch, I was like, I'll just make it mine. And it really should have been hers, because she owned that island. I was simply another resident that she, didn't kick out, thankfully. But it definitely was all her. So
love that.
All right, Andrew.
The moment that I've been dreading since we started this, me and Chris have talked about The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild before, and we both know each other's opinions on it. So this is where
gonna be the most contentious, I think, selection on our tier list up till now, for sure. Potentially for the foreseeable future. I don't like this game. I think this game has got a lot of problems, and I know you love this game. Who should go first?
I mean, you've already said your piece. Yeah, you just let it all out, big boy. You got it.
Breath of the Wild is an incredibly overrated game. All right. Breath of the Wild has some of the worst dungeon design in any Zelda game ever. The shrines are visually incredibly repetitive, and the skills that you get, look me in the eyes when I talk to you, young man. For audio listeners, he's turned his chair around. He can't face the truth. The abilities you get in this game are some of the most boring that you get in any Zelda game. The world is built around the premise that you're supposed to be able to go and do whatever you want, but the stamina system constantly fights that with you, to the point where, okay, I go see this giant mountain I want to climb. Oh, I'm halfway up, but I don't have enough stamina, so I guess I'm just going to spend another 10 minutes falling down, taking a bunch of damage, and then running somewhere else instead until I can come back here later. The weather system is super annoying. Having the same thing happen where, okay, well, I should be able to climb this, but it's raining now, so I'm just gonna slip and fall. Well, that sucks. I guess I'll just wait another hour and see if this goes away so I can move on with what I wanted to do. The story is nothing to me. Like I'm just really I didn't feel anything with the story. I don't like the weapon degradation system. The fact that all of your equipment just breaks. It serves no purpose other than to make you like, there are games that force you to use different weapons as you go in a satisfying way because it has you utilizing tools that you otherwise wouldn't use. And this, it's just like, okay, well, I just need to pick up 5 of the same type of sword. That's not going to have any difference, but just because one of them is going to break, and so I need to be able to have this. And so I just fill my inventory up with the same stuff, which, by the way, combat in this game also isn't very good. It's like, generally, it is just a very basic hack and slash kind of thing. It doesn't feel super satisfying. Some of the physics stuff you can do with, like, fire in the environment, and seeing that catch on the grass in real time or whatever is cool. But like, that feels like more of a like a gimmick than something that you can generally utilize in a satisfying way. Yeah, I think this game is incredibly overrated, and I think that's a pretty good summary of some of the many issues it has.
Okay. I will definitely admit that this game has issues. Some people will
also
tell
runs
you
like
that this is
doo-doo
the
on the
greatest.
Switch, by the way. Just
That's so cap. Oh no, dude, that's so no.
it's okay in I won't say doo-doo. I won't say doo-doo because there are games that run like actual doo-doo. But it does have frame rate issues when you're playing docked in a way that is, I think, unfortunate.
Sure.
That is like the bottom of my list of complaints, though, to be clear. But
it is a flawed game. People will tell you this is the best game of all time. I don't agree with them.
Which I'll be the first to admit, part of the reason I'm so adamant about my opinion on it is because I had to hear that so much from people I know and from podcasts I listen to and from just random people on the internet. And it's just like, it made me feel like I was crazy. Like, what do you mean? Like, even if you don't agree with all the issues that I have with it, for people, so many people to like try to argue that it is definitively the best game of all time was like, genuinely, I could not wrap my mind around that argument. Like, I can understand people liking it for sure. I'm not dumb, but like, the argument that it's the best game ever was that I actually could not wrap my mind around.
The only reason that I don't think that it's the greatest game of all time is because I think there's another game that's in contention for being one of the greatest games of all time that's still currently on this list. But I'll get to that one once. But up until that game came out, I do think that this is one of the best games maybe ever released. I really do. The reason that I don't say the best game, one of the best games, is because it does have flaws. I do think that the dungeons are not. I think the idea of the dungeons, the divine beasts, I think that the idea of them is really cool, and being able to like move around parts of the dungeon itself and this and that. But I don't think that it works very well. I think that visually, I think the dungeons look kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
That's my one real big gripe around the game, is specifically just the dungeons.
You literally said you didn't like weapon degradation or item degradation, I guess, in Animal Crossing. What about it in Breath of the Wild is good? What makes
you
that good?
Misconstrued? No.
Okay,
I said in this type of game,
yes,
I think that it's completely pointless and unnecessary
what's
to have
your argument?
general gardening tools degrade over time. My mom has had the same shovel in her garage for 40 years, bro. That thing is not breaking after I dig up 4 holes, okay?
Okay, but it's not like in video games, oh, there's just this logic that if you use this weapon 15 times, the exact same weapon every time, that's going to break in the same way either. So you can't just logic your way out of it. It's still just a restrictive choice they made to limit you. It's not like it makes sense
It's
there
because
either.
Breath of the Wild is it's almost a survival adventure game. If you just get a weapon, like a good weapon from a good enemy, say you somehow beat like a Lionel, you know, the big like hard enemy in these games, and you get their massive, you know, crazy attack power weapon, and it never breaks, then you're just overpowered forever. Like, it makes you like experiment with stuff and not just stick to what you know. It makes you go out of your comfort zone and actively be looking for new weapons. And, you know, it kind of adds to like the survival aspect of it, where like, oh, all of my weapons are broken. What's around me? Okay, I just killed this bokoblin or this like skeleton. Let me pick up this skeleton armor. I can use it for a little bit. What else can I possibly do? Like, you're constantly like scrounging to try to and find something to keep fighting your way through the environment.
Yeah, but
I think is cool, but it's not. Whenever you first get into it, it is a little bit annoying, I will admit.
I don't think that you're given enough combat variety with those weapons to justify that, because like, yeah, you get something like the Lionels that like has slightly different mechanics, I guess, but generally they're all just swords or clubs that you're batting people with. Like, the only difference is just numbers. And like, if you wanted to do that, then like there are other ways around that could be more fun or whatever. I mean, there have been open world games for our entire lives that haven't been based around that, you know, or at least you can repair them back if you do find something you really like. And if you want to make it, you know, based off of not breaking the game, then just make those resources to repair it really difficult, I guess. You know, there are other ways, or at least that would feel like there's a loop there rather than just, oh, I got this really awesome thing. Now I'm not going to use it for the next 10 hours because I know it's going to get like one fight out of it before it breaks again. And then it's like useless. And then I was like, what was the point?
Yeah, and there is like that kind of thought process to it, which I understand. Like, it's not for everybody. This game was not for me the first time that I booted it up. It took me probably 3 tries to get into this game. Just because getting into it, like it's so hard in the beginning.
Yeah,
you got 3 hearts. You're just getting one shot by everything. I'm like, dude, this is a kid's game. Like, this is a Zelda game. Like, I should not be getting one shot and like all this crazy stuff. But then once I kind of like figured out the loop and like, which I know you don't like the loop either.
What, the loop of having to do 4 shrines to get a whole heart, spending an hour doing these really boring and like not like fleshed out shrines compared to like a full dungeon. I don't know. They're just not. They're all so.
You don't
repetitive.
even like the shrines?
No, I don't. I don't find.
Oh my god.
Them very engaging because they're based around the abilities that I think are lame. I don't like the Link's kit in this game.
The abilities are maybe a little lackluster. I'll give it to you. But a lot of the stuff that they do with them in the shrines is so cool.
What
Dude,
cool
I mean,
tell me one cool thing you do with the bombs. Tell me one cool thing you do with the bombs.
With the bombs? I mean, bombs are bombs, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's not much you can really...
It's so bad.
But dude, freaking the kinesis.
That's the only good one. That is literally the only good one. And even that is like, I don't know, a little wonky, but
the kinesis, and then the
magnet.
The one that makes you like Magneto. Yeah.
No, don't like the magnet.
What? It's just Ultra Hand, but you can only use it on metal stuff.
Exactly. It's just objectively worse.
I know, but we didn't know any different until Tears came out.
I knew it sucked in. And no one listened to me. No one wanted to listen.
Oh my god. Dude, and I think that the story is cool. Is it like the most fleshed out thing ever? No, but like it. God, sorry. I'm just so I'm so in shock.
The
I
story
can't.
is cool. What
For someone,
he just
for,
doesn't. He doesn't.
this is a personal attack now, Chris. All right, I'm making this personal. For someone whose opinion I respect so much, I cannot believe that you have a take this hot.
I feel like I'm not just like spewing random. It's not like, oh, this game sucks. I'm not telling you why. Like, I feel like I'm giving you logic based answers. I mean, it's all opinion, right? At the end of the day,
You have,
like,
and some of them I agree with. Some of them I will say that I agree with. It is not a flawless game.
the story is just like, it's just more Link versus Ganon. Like, you don't really get to see that much as far as like the most interesting parts of the story are like the memory things, and they're like such a pain to find. I'm like, I want to find more of these, and it's just you give me this open world that, like you said, is not, it pushes back at you half the time to navigate. I mean, you obviously, as you get more stamina and things like that, it becomes easier, but it's still, you know, a not very forgiving world. And it's like spending hours just hoping to find this one grain of the story that like gives you the one interesting bit, which is the background. I don't know.
And maybe like, you know, I can't, I say that I like the story. I don't really remember a ton of the story, but I do remember really liking the different champions and the characters, and like, not that they're, you know, the most like fleshed out characters of all time or anything, but I do think that kind of stuff is cool, and yeah, the memories, like those really are like kind of the only real like story bits that you get. But I don't know, man. The sense of adventure that this game gives me, though, is like, it is almost like nothing I've ever felt in any big like open world game that I have played. Like, it is just sheer like, all right, we just throw you in there. Good luck.
See, that's how I feel about Elden Ring.
It's so cool.
That's what I think Elden Ring is. I think Elden Ring does that so much better because it's a world that is super fun and engaging to explore, but there's enough, you know, and it's obviously difficult. That's obviously also a very challenging game, but it's one where I feel much more rewarded for the things that I'm doing, whether it's in unique enemy designs or in unique abilities or weapons, I guess, that I'm getting more specifically, typically, that I can drastically alter my play style with, or finding this treasure chest that's going to teleport me to this area that I'm absolutely not supposed to be in yet, and then figuring out a way to survive and get back in a totally different environment, but getting a taste of like what's to come. Like, that is what I've heard a lot of people say that about Breath of the Wild, and I just never found the adventure in that game. Like, the things you find when you explore are the Korok seeds, which are not fun to catch most of the time, and again, it takes so many of them to get anything out of it, or the shrines, which are based around abilities that I don't like, visually repetitive, and also you had to do 4 of them to get a heart. So there's just a million of them. It just got super repetitive. Like,
Other than that, there's only 120. That's not like a ridiculous
my
ask.
brother,
I don't
my
think.
brother. Yeah, I just,
And this being, oh, dude,
I'm not
like,
saying, if I want to be objective, I'm not saying it's a terrible game. I do not like this game, and I do think it has some fair arguments on some pretty major flaws.
maybe. I'll give you a maybe on that. Because you did, like, I will say, in your opening statement, you
I try to lay down the law.
you did make some points that I was like, okay, you know, maybe you're spitting. But some of it I just couldn't disagree with more. This game, like, first coming out, like, the go anywhere, do anything, dude, it's like, and it's such like, I feel like it really is like such an influential game in so many ways. Like, whenever I think of an adventure game for the next however long, or at least until Tears of the Kingdom comes out, you know, since then, like, this is, whenever I think of an adventure game, like, this is the game that I will think of, like, maybe forever.
The only thing I think that is unique about, like, we'd had open worlds before, we'd had, you know, survival mechanics before, we'd had stamina bars, we'd had creating weapons. Like the only thing that I feel like makes this semi unique is the shoot, what was I gonna say? The glider. The glider is the one thing that like you can pinpoint in a lot of games since then. It's like, okay, this is clearly a Breath of the Wild thing.
When Aloy gets the glider in Horizon,
like,
it's like
the ultimate betrayal, dude. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like when I think about games that like again utilize, people are not gonna like this, but I don't care. When I think about games that utilize the variety of weapons, encourage you to use the variety of weapons you're given, I actually think of the first Horizon specifically and the amount of different arrow types that you're given and how you look at all of the giant beasts and how they all have different weaknesses on different parts of their body that I am constantly pulling up the redial menu to swap between and like, okay, let me throw out this tripwire here so it's going to fall over, and then I'm going to pull out my poison arrow here to specifically get this one little tube on its side to get that weakness off, and then I'm going to pull out this explosive arrow to shoot in its mouth to try and do that. It's like, that's a game that encourages you in a satisfying way to actually use all the tools in your arsenal. And like Breath of the Wild is just like, all right, I hope you have 5 curved swords. You can throw one if you want. It's gonna break a little faster.
You can throw one if you want.
It sucks, man. I do not like this game. Oh my god. All right,
what is the absolute
we gotta figure out where we're gonna put it.
Lowest that you were, sorry, the absolute highest that you are willing to put it?
B tier.
Oh, I'm so my brother in Christ. There's no way.
It's not better than anything in A tier, based off of your description of them. Of the last two specifically.
Okay, for audio listeners in the A tier currently, we've got Super Mario Bros. Wonder at the top, then Bowser's Fury, then Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and Pikmin 4.
I think it should be at the top of B tier.
Bro, there's no way. Chris, I don't know if I can do it, man.
Here,
I don't think that I have the strength.
I will go ahead and spoil something for you, okay? Tears of the Kingdom will go much higher. Okay, I think that game is significantly better. If that makes you feel any better. But Breath of the Wild, it's not better than Bowser's Fury. It's not.
What the fuck are you talking about? Sorry, I think that's the first F-bomb dropped on the channel. What are you talking about, bro? There's no possible way that you think that. There's no way. Oh god. This might be the end of the podcast, folks. It's gonna ruin the tour.
It's not better than 3 Houses. I can't speak to Pikmin 4.
It's not better than 3 Houses.
No. The story in 3 Houses, even not finishing it, infinitely better than the story in Breath of the Wild. The systems, much deeper, much more engaging.
I think that this is the absolute lowest that I could possibly even fathom putting this game, is in the middle of A tier. That's like that final offer.
Let me use my teardrop.
No shot.
Use my teardrop.
Oh my god, no way.
For listeners, this is I think the first time we've actually used it so far, but we said in the first episodes we were going to have this mechanic where if one of us felt really strongly about something and we couldn't agree to compromise, which we've done on literally everything else so far, we each get 1 teardrop per episode where we can knock it down or up 1 more from where it's at.
This is bullshit, Chris. This is.
I feel
so
strongly about this.
Well, if you feel that strongly, then I'm gonna feel strongly about something real quick with Tears of the Kingdom. You said that you think that Super Mario Odyssey is the best single player experience on the Switch. I think that Tears of the Kingdom is the best single player experience on the Switch. I like if this were my list, like Xenoblade would probably be up there with them, but I know that you haven't played it, so I'm gonna keep that at the bottom of the S plus tier. You could not possibly talk me out of keeping this game out of the S plus tier. There's no possible way. There's nothing you can say. This is one of my genuinely also one of my favorite games of all time, which I've said that a lot this podcast. The Switch is such a good system, dude. It's such a good system, regardless of whether or not the games are butt ugly. But but dude, I mean, taking everything that I love about Breath of the Wild, which I already think is like really up there in terms of like a quality game. Just taking all of that and literally just like timesing it by 100, like making all of the different abilities so much cooler. See, you have cooler abilities in this one.
You do.
You like the abilities?
It's significantly better.
I would agree.
Way better. Like the ability, singularly the ability to like go up and down between layers in and of itself, better than anything in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and that fixes a lot of your gripes with climbing.
Yep, navigation becomes much more enjoyable. Still, stamina system still pisses me off sometimes, but at least there are sometimes ways around it now.
Because otherwise, you could just go from one side. Never mind.
I thought that's what you wanted in your adventure. You want your open world adventure. Go. I'm told in Breath of the Wild I can go wherever I want. I can just look at it and go to it, right?
You can.
Yeah, except you don't, unless you don't have a big enough stamina bar.
You can't just go straight there, though. You got to look around you,
that's
man.
Crazy, dude. You make up your mind.
Dude, both of these games. Both of these games are literally like, ooh, shiny. The game, like. Anywhere,
except
if you
the
get
shiny is literally
up,
a turd. It's literally a Korok seed, which is a turd.
God.
It's literally a turd.
Oh my!
I don't know if you caught it. They give you a big turd. That's the reward. I looked it up because I was like, "What's the point of all this crap?" And it's crap, Andrew. It's more crap. That's the point. God, I hate.
Hesu does give you a big golden turd after you collect 800 Korok seeds.
You know what? I'm not. It shouldn't be number one in my opinion, but I'm not going to argue that it shouldn't be S+. I think this game is significantly better. The abilities, way better. The story, still not great, but at least there's more to it. I think the
story's so good.
I think the the Sky Islands, and less so the underground, but the underground's still cool too. But especially the Sky Islands adds so much more actual fun to exploration because there's like layers to it, and again they are easier to get to, I think, for the most part. I think the creativity of the master hand thing, whatever it's called, the ultra hand, it does genuinely lead to some really fun and kooky solutions to stuff that help the shrines be more enjoyable, even if I do still think they're a little repetitive. At least the tools that you're using in them allow for, I feel like, more of the creativity people say you're supposed to get. The combat's, at least, I think, a little bit more interesting because of that too, because the fact you can combine, like, make your own weapons with stuff with the Ultra Hand. I think this game is significantly better. I think it's cool to see some of the ramifications and changes between the games. Adds a little bit more reason to care about things in a world that otherwise I don't care about. No, it is a significantly better game. I still wouldn't call it like one of the best games ever made, but part of that is because I'm not, like you said, a huge part of these games is the survival aspect of it, and that's not typically my favorite genre. I still don't like get a kick out of cooking. Like, I still don't think that adds anything other than just bloated time. That okay, now I have to go find these different ingredients to make sure that I have this for this one area. I don't find that satisfying. It's not a satisfying loop, but it's not as obtrusive, I feel like, in this game. And it depending on the situation, I can understand it at least. But really what it comes down to is just the Ultra Hand letting you make your own weapons, really helps with the weapon degradation thing and makes them more interesting. The abilities as a whole are significantly more interesting, and there is more story, and I find it more interesting. And the world is actually, even if there's not like specific items, I feel like that you're going out and finding when you're exploring, the layers to the world with the sky islands, the ground floor, whatever, and then the underground does add enough sense of exploration that does feel more rewarding. So I think this game is significantly better. I would, even without you here, I would probably say it's either S or S plus for me. So I'm not just,
that makes me feel so much
I'm
better.
not a blind hater. All right. I just think Breath of the Wild specifically sucks. But
God.
Tears of the Kingdom is a great game. Even
so
if I can
good,
realize
man.
that it's still not, it would never be my favorite game of all time. It is still a game that I way more enjoyed my time with. And just generally did enjoy my time with, whereas like Breath of the Wild was like, I'm pulling teeth here, man. But
I don't get. Oh. It's fine. You liked Tears, and you didn't like Breath, and I can, as your friend Chris, I accept you
wow, thank you
for
so
the
much.
freak that you are. For the freak that you are.
You know, and you know what's crazy?
But it's okay.
Everyone
It's
was
okay.
like, "Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom's great," but like, it's just more Breath of the Wild. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, it's the one time I would be
No.
less upset, at least, if people were saying that it was fantastic, and people were still saying it's like, "Oh, it's the best game ever." But then, like, it felt like people didn't talk about it nearly as long. And I'm like, this is the one time you would have had more in your argument. I feel like it is just an objectively better version of the original game.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing about Breath of the Wild. It's like the initial like awe of like, here's this giant world, like just go be in it, like this big like sandbox basically. Which this game is even more of like a sandbox game, just because of the Ultra Hand stuff alone. Like some of the stuff that I see people on Twitter make in this game, it's freaking crazy.
And Tears,
like all the different vehicles.
It was so fun to watch when that game first came out. People building like bomb airships and stuff. It was insane. That stuff, like,
I was about to say, I literally saw like a stealth bomber at one point.
yes, that is the creativity. Okay, here's a question, and I don't mean for this to sound offensive or like attacking. I'm not trying to attack you. I genuinely want to hear what you think about this. What about Breath of the Wild separates it from other open world games? Like, people say it is like the sense of discovery, and like you mentioned, the sense of adventure, but it's like, people were saying that about Fallout 3 when like you first opened the vault and it's like, here's the big world, you know, or, you know, Assassin's Creed back before people hated them and they got super bloated. It's like, we've had open world games before with, I feel like, big senses of discovery being a big part of them. Like, what specifically to you about Breath of the Wild makes that different than any other open world game?
I mean, mainly like it is kind of that. I mean, I haven't felt like a sense of adventure or like a sense of discovery like that in any other open world game that I've played, because most of the times you get on an open world game and it's like, here's a marker, here's a marker, here's a marker, here's a marker. It just tells you everywhere that you need to go. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, it's like, here's your main objective markers. Like, you know, you've got the 4 markers in either corner of the map that you can go to and like progress the story. But what you do between here and those markers is completely up to you. Like, you can travel anywhere that you, pretty much anywhere that you look, like off in the distance, you can see something that you can go do. Whether it's a shrine, whether it's like a bokoblin base, or like something, you know, whether or not the actual goodies of going all the way there are worth it, you know, and it's kind of like dependent on, you know, the thing. But yeah, it really is just a sense that like pretty much anywhere that you look, whether or not it's like immediately around you, like there's just always somewhere, there's always like a carrot on a stick, like in front of you constantly. And it's,
yeah, I don't know, man. I wish I felt that way.
I've up until Tears, I had just never played anything like it before. And even in open world games, and you know, I've played a ton of open world games. I didn't get that experience with like Fallout or like anything like that, but I'd played, you know, right before this, like Horizon came out the year before, right?
Horizon Zero Dawn and Breath of the Wild came out like the same month.
Oh no, they came out at the same time.
Yeah,
that's
one
right.
everyone always dunks on.
Yeah. Then I guess maybe up until this point, I hadn't played that many open world games. So maybe that's it. Maybe because I mean, I feel like this is kind of like where the big boom of open world kind of started. Like we definitely had open world.
There was Grand Theft
games.
Auto and all that.
There's Grand Theft Auto. Yeah, that is true. But I feel like ever since Breath of the Wild, like they're just a dime a dozen now. You know, I don't feel like we've had
I feel like
this big of a boom.
I feel like
in open world
the
games.
Ubisoft thing was really what blew it all up, because
And
like that
be
became the buzzword, right? It's like, oh, it's an Ubisoft open world where, you know, you're gonna have your camps, you have to clear out, you have your points, your synchronization points, where you go somewhere really tall and clear out the map some, and then you go to the base or whatever. Like, I don't know. I think of games like Fallout, where you would also be given this giant open world, or Skyrim, and there it could lead to a town where you have a whole different set of quests that could lead down this whole separate rabbit hole of things, or you find these entire guilds that you can join and things like that have their own sets of quests and rewards and things like that. Or you get like Elden Ring, where it was the experience that I described earlier, or even something as recent as Avowed, where it's like, you know, you're constantly hearing this jingle in your ear. Oh, that means a treasure chest is near, and that's going to be a new item that I can use to completely refigure my build or whatever. It's like, I don't know. I just didn't. I wish I felt that way about Breath. I really do.
I understand.
I really do.
I understand.
I did not find the rewards for what you're getting for your exploration in Breath of the Wild to be worth the friction I was constantly facing of fighting the stamina bar that won't let me swim across this lake that doesn't feel like it's that big, or climb up this mountain, and I don't realize I'm halfway up, and then I lose 30 minutes of progress because I fall down and I die, and then I gotta do it all over again.
I'm gonna get you a modded Switch with an unlimited stamina bar on Breath of the Wild. And I'm gonna make you play that game front to back, and then we'll reassess
Oh, that's okay.
your opinion on the game.
That's okay. Life's too short, my brother.
But Tears of the Kingdom, I feel like just does everything the Breath of the Wild does, but like a million times better. This is maybe the only Zelda game that I've played that like the ending of this game is so insane.
Like Tears?
Yes. It's, besides like some of the stuff that happened in the Xenoblade games, it's probably one of my favorite moments of me ever playing a Switch game. You didn't finish the game, did you?
You know me.
I should have known.
You know what's crazy is I got to
You're such a quitter.
I got to the last dungeon in Breath and I didn't finish it. And I got to I got the Master Sword in Tears and I didn't finish it.
Dude, just go finish it. Oh my god, the end of this game is so good.
Well, it was like I found like I said, I found the best parts of the story in this game to be the flashbacks and things like that. So I went out of my way to do all this stuff, which that's how you get the Master Sword, is by getting all those memories. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, that's the only story part I really cared about. It was so I didn't really bother.
That's really funny because I did the same thing. That was the first thing that I did. As soon as I figured out like what those did, it was like I was going to all the little like whatever they were, like the hieroglyphs and like the. Because you want to talk about ooh shiny the game, like the Tears is like anywhere, especially since the towers in this game, you know, like the towers that like shoot you up into the sky.
Yeah.
Like,
which were really fun.
They give you like such a
huge improvement to getting around the world.
Yeah, they give you such a massive vantage point to where like you can literally just look around anywhere up there and you can spot, you know, 10 shrines to go to just while you're up there one time. And then you see all the glyphs and like there's so many more things to to go and see. And even in like the Sky Islands and I love the depths. Dude, going down into the depths for the first time, like that's one of like the craziest, like scariest things that I've experienced. I don't play a lot of horror games, and it's not like the depths are like a horror thing, but going there for the first time and like seeing
pitch
like
black dark,
just pitch black, I'm like, dude, I don't know what to do about this, but exploring the depths and like lighting up all of the light routes and finding all of the secrets that are down there, and knowing that it's just an inverted map of Hyrule. Like it's literally they took Hyrule and they just flipped it upside down and like put it in the like kind of in a way. Like it's not exactly that, but it just does so much right. And I do think that the story is infinitely better. And like I said, the ending of the game, it's the only Zelda game that's ever like actually made me like emotional.
Yeah.
Like with some of like the music cues. God, oh dude, we didn't even talk about the music in either of these games. Oh, brother.
There's not that much
you can't
of it.
tell me that you don't mess with
It's so
it's
ambient, and
it's so
is
like
fine.
it's so
like,
ambient, but it's so like purposeful. Like I don't know, man. I think it serves such a cool purpose and just like never mind.
This man just gave up.
Never
I
mind.
just
I'm not
broke
even
him.
gonna
I
try.
just broke him.
I'm not even gonna try.
Oh man.
Sick son of a bitch.
Oh man.
But yeah, I just think that Tears is it's just one of the best single player games I've ever played. Hands down. And you should go and finish it and let me know what you think about the ending.
Yeah.
Because you will probably also I was gonna say you'll love it, but I don't know.
Let's not get crazy here, all right? Are you gonna use your teardrop on anything? I already let you put Tears at number 1, so I feel like that's kind of close, but you know.
I so badly want to move Xenoblade, but I mean,
What, 3 up to S plus?
no, not 3 up to S plus.
Oh, you just want to keep moving.
But I don't want to step on toes because I know that you really like these, and I also really like these. So all of these are like almost on the same page to me, up in the S plus tier. Tears of the Kingdom, Ultimate, Mario Odyssey, and Xenoblade. Those are pretty close to all being in the same tier for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the same like level. So just a recap for viewers, at the bottom, in the D tier, we've got Mario Strikers Battle League, Super Mario Party.
Bottom to
And that's it in the D tier.
yeah, from worst to best.
Yeah, from worst to best, we're going worst to best. In the C tier, we've got Mario Tennis Aces, Ring Fit Adventure.
Or Ring Fit. I wanted it to be included. It got so low. It deserved better.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening at the top. It keeps throwing me off. In the B tier,
B for bad, am I right?
Our surprise guest, our surprise guest has placed Mario and Luigi Brothership at the bottom of the B tier, followed by Splatoon 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Super Mario Maker 2, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Animal Crossing New Horizons, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Man, that is just it's such a big tier, Chris. I really think we need to even it out a little bit.
I think that there's nothing wrong with being right in the middle of the road.
It's B tier for Breath of the Wild does not belong in B tier. That's what
I'm sure.
And then you get the A tier. At the bottom of A tier, we've got Pikmin 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Bowser's Fury, Super Mario Wonder up at the top. In the S tier, it's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Metroid Dread, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 at the top. And then in the S plus tier, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Tears of the Kingdom.
I unironically really like this list.
I don't have many gripes with this list, and I'm not just talking about Breath of the Wild. I'm not just talking about Breath of the Wild.
You would put Link's Awakening higher, I know too, right? That's the other one.
I think, yeah, I would probably put Link's Awakening higher.
I feel like you started where you thought it should be in B, but then you were like, no, it's not better than Splatoon 2 or Luigi's Mansion 3. Didn't you say that?
I think it might be better than Splatoon 2. Maybe. I just really like that art. I think that art style carries that game so hard.
It is pretty.
Like I think it's such a joy to look at. and it's just it's a fun kind of like, I don't want to say like turn off your brain, like it's because it's definitely not a turn off your brain kind of game, but just like playing a 2D Zelda on the Switch just felt so nice. And
It was just remastered Link Between Worlds, the best 2D Zelda.
actually, yeah, I think you're right. I'm pretty sure that is just the best 2D
That's
Zelda.
crazy because everyone's like, well, it's a Link. Oh God, what's the original one?
Link to the Past
Link to
is
the
good.
Past. Yeah, that's one that everyone.
It is really good. I think that it lost that title as soon as Link Between Worlds came out.
So good. That's a good Zelda.
You're such a motherfucker.
You're gonna have a lot of editing.
There will be no editing. The people will know my true feelings. Yeah, I don't really think that I need to. I don't think I need to use my, because I could just cancel you out. But you let me put Tears at the top. But man, it's so rough putting.
Look at the color
Zelda
palette
down
even
there so
matches.
far, but-
Look at it. It's the yellow bee and the yellow in the sky. Come on.
I guess you're right. Whatever, dude. Whatever. I will learn to live with it. And I got my Zelda in S+ tier.
I was gonna say you got one of them. Literally
I'll
the
live.
number one on the list. All right.
I will live. Barely. I'm hanging on by a thread, Chris.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Poor brother.
I
The
think,
brother should about to catch a stray.
I can't say anything. We invited her
I
on,
don't know. I don't know.
and she likes it. I respect her opinion. She has a lot of good gaming takes most of the time. Maybe.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's the tier list, everybody.
This was supposed to be half of an episode, and it's gonna be like one of our longest ones yet, I think. So
Yeah, I think we're up to about 3.5 hours right now.
oh my. You know, we knew what we
This
were
is a big
doing.
one.
We knew what we were doing, but hopefully you had fun. I know I did. It was, a celebration of Mr. Nintendo, the end of an era. So I think it was much deserved, and we have a lot to look forward to in the future. So, any last minute thoughts or predictions before Wednesday's direct, Andrew?
I don't think so. I mean, I think we covered a lot of like my crazy stuff in the in the previous episode. I do think that this is going to be a pretty chunky direct. I think that it's going to be chunky, and I think it's going to be full of a lot of really good stuff. I think it's going to announce some stuff that maybe doesn't even necessarily come out as like launch window type stuff, but like years and years down the line. So I think that we might get some actual like real crazy stuff besides just, a Mario Kart and a 3D Mario or whatever they plan on announcing.
See, I don't know if I think it's going to be chunky because of the fact we got the direct last week. I think it'll have the price. I think it'll have the release date. It'll have the pre-order date. And I think it'll definitely have Mario Kart and maybe like 2 other games or 3.
Really?
But I don't think I think 30 minutes
really?
tops. I think 30 minutes is the longest it is.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think that the direct last week changes anything, truthfully. I think that those are games that have probably been being worked on for a little while, and they couldn't finish them before they wanted to put out the Switch 2. So it's like, I think that those are just going to end up being Switch 2 games anyway. I think they could have just included those in there, but they didn't want to put those games in that direct as to like kind of bog down the direct, essentially. I mean, like, some people get really excited for that stuff, but like,
Yeah, I'm sure they want
I
to say
feel
the
like
big
this-
stuff because we knew about like the 2 that are most likely to be Switch 2 games too are Pokemon and Metroid, and like we both already knew about them. So I do think that it'll mostly be like new stuff that we're going to be hearing about on Wednesday. So yeah,
but I'm very excited for it. This is the most excited I've been for a showcase since the last terrible PlayStation showcase.
dude, we need a PlayStation actual what because state of plays and then there's PlayStation showcases, and the PlayStation showcases
Yeah.
are usually the good ones. We need one of those so bad. But
Except the last one got so bad, dude. It had all those freaking live service games and
R.I.P.
fair
Concord.
games and all those.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Concord.
Oh.
Ugh.
Well, all right, that's for another day. Nintendo gets its week to shine, and then Mr. PlayStation will be back. All right, and then it's my
No.
turn. No, then it's Expedition 33. So,
Yes, sir.
big month, big week for us here on the Teardrop Pod. Thank you all for tuning in. I know you have lots of mean things to say to me. Please don't. Please only say nice things in the comments.
Light him up. Light him up.
You heard my arguments. You know what I say to be true. Thank you all again for your support. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to all of our channels, and tune in later in the week, hopefully, for our reaction. Well, not a reaction, but review, I guess, of the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and see which of our predictions came true. I, for one, cannot wait to play Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. That's what it's called. Missing Link on my Nintendo Switch 2 in September of 2025. So I hope you all are looking forward to that too. But for now,
I hope that it's real.
it's not. It's definitely not.
It's not.
It's Kingdom Hearts 4, obviously. Anyway, all right, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye, guys.